Either I don't do it, or I do it to the best of my abilities. Either I don't do it, or I do it to the best of my abilities. Long Fei owed Fu Shishan too much. If not for her continued life pill, Long Fei's grandfather would already no longer be in this world. If not for her help, Long Fei might not have been able to reach where he was today. It was the same in God's Phoenix Pavilion. Could Fu Shishan just watch as Fu Shishan was bullied for his sake? Absolutely not. The day passed. The backyard was divided into two parts. One was alchemy, and the other was artifact forging. The artifact forging was set up in a secret room. This was Long Fei's request. Man to all you owe was in the alchemy room. Long Fei looked at the refined, or what are you refining? Blade, a sword, or a rod? Not even these. The weapons are all here if you want to win in terms of grade. It's probably very difficult. Moreover, my refining techniques is not even at the divine level yet, not to mention refining immortal grade weapons. Long Fei's mind was thinking frantically, what kind of weapon was this? Just what was he trying to create? As a great treasure, it had to crush the entire battlefield and make people's blood boil. Only then could it help Fu Shishan and make the Fengyuan Merchant Union famous. Long Fei's mind kept working on the structure, but during the entire day, Long Fei did not make any progress. Even when his brain was about to burst, he still couldn't figure out what kind of weapon he would forge. However, he was not idle. Instead, he turned into a sky demon and entered the space of the god's devil token, frantically cultivating his refining techniques. This time, he once again rushed into the highest level, the 9th level, of God's devil space without a care. God's devil space's domineering pressure caused his body to be in an incomparably tense state. As he increased his refining techniques, he was also thinking about what kind of thing to create. One night passed. Long Fei didn't have a clue. What is Fu Shishan doing? Inside Fu Tianlong's exquisite courtyard, the three clan elders sat together and drank their tea, chatting when Fu Tianlong's bodyguard entered the courtyard. Replying to elder, she's looking for people to help her borrow things. Basically, she went to every single family that has business with the Fu family. Fu Tianlong held back his laughter and asked, and the result? That person replied, she did not borrow anything. These people did not give her any face at all. Poochie, ha ha, ha ha, ha ha. The three elders couldn't help laughing out loud. Fu Tianlong laughed out loud. Of course she can't borrow it, because we have already visited all three of the families that are related to the Fu clan. How many days has it been since this little girl, Fu Shishan, came to the God Emperor City? We've been here for decades. It would be weird if she could borrow something. Ha ha, fight with me. Little girl, are you even worthy? Fu Tianlong was extremely proud. He was originally the person in charge of the God Emperor City, but who would have thought that Fu Shishan would directly descend in the air above him? He had been suppressing his anger these past few years, and now he finally had the chance. He would definitely not let Fu Shishan go. Riding on our heads to shit and pee on our pants. Do you really think you're so good as a scallion? Exactly. If it wasn't for her father, how could she have come to the God Emperor's City? A woman is always the life of a man, and that is what she should know. One of the elders said, Big brother, the Fengyuan Merchant Union will definitely lose this auction. At that time, they will definitely suffer a blow from the other 9 business union. What should we do? Yeah. Fu Shishan being forced to leave is already a foregone conclusion. But what about us? Fu Tianlong smiled blandly. You don't have to worry about this matter. As long as we force Fu Shishan to leave, I have a way to make the Fengyuan Merchant Union rise again. Haha. Don't forget, we have a strategic relationship with the imperial family of the Divine Emperor Empire. Only the 3 of us know about this matter. Even the president isn't aware of it. Startled, the 3 of them burst out laughing at the same time. At this moment, Fu Tianlong asked, what is the trash that Fu Shishan is raising in the South Horizon region doing? He's been closed up. However, that woman called Mantuo is not simple. I have investigated her. She seems to be from the drug race, and she is even a poison pill refiner. Just yesterday, she was able to concoct 10 groups of poison pills. The grade and quality are not bad. She is probably Fu Shishan's only thing. Fu Tianlong's gaze turned cold as he said, "A poison pill, right? I'll go away. Think of a way to steal all the poison pills she has refined. I want to let Fu Shishan have no chance at all. I want to make sure that she will never be able to recover." Fu Tianlong's eyes revealed a vicious light. His methods were vicious to the extreme. Even his own niece was the same. As long as she was in his way, she would not acknowledge him. In another place, Morong Mansion, Morong Fonlei became excited and said, "It's as you expected. The family gene union has succeeded, and there is internal strife within the Fengyuan Merchant Union. God's Phoenix Pavilion's boss can't take it anymore. As for that trash from the South Horizon region, he's been hiding in his room the entire time and doesn't dare to come out. He's probably afraid that the people from the God Emperor Academy are looking for him." He was beginning to admire his son more and more. Even though he wasn't old, he was capable of calculating everything. It was true that cultivation was important, but his brain was even more important. Not to mention, Murong Tian had the skills and brains of a demon slayer. Even if he wasn't, his Murong Prince's manor would still be able to soar into the sky with this kind of strength. Murong Tian laughed complacently and said, "I've already heard about the matter with God Emperor Academy. Fu Shishan is simply unable to take out 5,000 fairy stones. Once the deadline is passed, her God's Phoenix Pavilion will prepare to close the gates. This matter, once his master's illegitimate child died, he would be the only important disciple and would receive all of the resources, including the 3-rate fairy vein. Everything was perfect." Murong Tian laughed sinisterly and thought, "Kid, what are you using to fight me now? I just need to make a little trick and your Fengyuan Merchant Union is about to be destroyed. Do you still have anything to rely on?" "Ha!" Murong Tian laughed proudly. What exactly is being refined? There are only 2 days left." The refining techniques had already been raised to the heaven stage by Long Fei. However, he still hadn't thought about what spiritual treasure he would forge. At this moment, a loud sound echoed out of the courtyard. Xiao Ying was sent flying with a slap. "There's an assassin." Man, Toal Yuo crawled out from the room. Uncle Lei, absolute poison pellet." All the absolute poison pills were taken away. The smoke thunder had just gone out. Hearing the sound, he rushed to the backyard, but everything was too late. The expert had long since disappeared. Fu Shishan also walked into the backyard. Looking at Fu Shishan and Man Toal Yuo, who were both in her hands, her heart was already dead. Why must it be like this? Does the heavens want me to die? She hated him. She clearly knew who was stealing the pellets Man Toal Yuo had refined. It was Fu Tianlong's man. They were both from the same family. Why would the merchant union fight against each other? Fu Shishan felt extreme hatred in his heart. Long Fei also knew what happened just now. And in that instant, a thought flashed in his mind. And then, Baidu's sister-in-law, AA Half. Floating life, strongest upgrade system, he opened the door and said to the Uncle Lei, "I need ores, a large amount. I need as many as I can get." Finished. Long Fei turned around and entered the room, his heart excited as he said, "I want to forge a set of armor. Transformers armor." Chapter 10. For the monthly tickets for March, let's start a new month. The brothers have monthly tickets to cast for the sea. Thank you. 8_8419/2356959. Sword refinement couldn't compare to those immortal stage divine equipment. Sword refinement couldn't compare to those immortal stage divine equipment. Knife refining, no creativity. If one wanted to catch the eye, if one wanted to raise the fame and influence of the Fengyuan Merchant Union, they had to find something that the world had never seen before. Furthermore, it had to be very powerful. If he could create a set of level armor, Long Fei believed that it was enough to crush the entire audience. Long Fei stuck his head out, turned, and entered. Everyone in the courtyard was stunned. Fu Shishan asked, "What did he do in the past 2 days?" Man Toal Yuo and Xiao Ying shook their heads at the same time and said. Fu Shishan laughed. It was a forced laugh, and she did not hold any hope for Long Fei. After all, what could she do in such a short period of time? Now that the poison pills man Toaluo had refined had been robbed, the last sliver of hope had been shattered. Fu Shishan glanced at Long Fei's room and said to Uncle Lei, "Give him what he wants." Then he slowly walked out of the yard. His back was very sad, very lonely. His body seemed incredibly heavy, and when he walked, he was somewhat trembling. He seemed to be unable to bear it. No one knew the importance of Fu Shishan's shoulder. No one knew how much pressure she had to bear. No one was willing to help her, not even the closest of partners. In an instant, she felt as if the sky was about to collapse. Fu Shishan knew in his heart that she wouldn't be able to pass this crisis. Now, the only thing she wanted to do was to gather 5,000 fairy stones and help Long Fei settle the matters regarding the God Emperor Academy, so as to not affect Long Fei's entry into the God Emperor Academy. It was the only thing she could do. 5,000 fairy stones was not a small number. There were still 3 days left. In the yard, Xiao Ying was a little angry. Why is young Master Long like this? Look at the sister Yinshan, sis despairing eyes. I feel very uncomfortable watching them. Since he's so powerful in the drug race, why didn't he use his alchemy to refine so many consummate pills? If you really want to forge a weapon, I won't be able to understand what he's trying to do. Is he good at smithing? She didn't understand. She was also angry because she couldn't bear it. Man Toyuo also did not quite understand. Long Fei's alchemy were obviously very strong, but why did he need to refine? In the entire Sky Martial continent, how many people had alchemy and could refine artifacts? Different familiarity, different talents. It was impossible to have both. We'll talk about it later. Now, at such a critical juncture, he had already done almost nothing in the past 2 days, yet he still had to persevere in refining. This, Man Toaluo also frowned. And then, Man Toaluo said, "Xiaoying, ignore him. He's in pain too. Wait until you follow me into the pill room. I need your help to enter the alchemy right now." However, at this critical moment, she did not have time to rest, so she had to do something for Fu Shishan. She did not have the time to do it right now. Xiaoying looked at Man Toaluo's pale face, bit his lips, and heavily nodded. Amen. And then, Xiaoying looked at Long Fei's room and said, "Young Master Long, Sister Yinshan sis has been pressured to the point that she can't even breathe and has already lost all hope. Can you?" Just as he wanted to continue, he was glared at by Man Toaluo. The smoke thunder shook its head and sighed, then left to retrieve the oars for Long Fei. Ha! Ha! With these poison pills gone, Fu Shishan's last hope has been dashed. Fu Tianlong looked at the poison pills on the table as a smile blossomed on his face. "Big brother, there's less than 2 days' time before the opening of the auction. Fu Shishan doesn't have any more cards left. Let's see how she will continue acting arrogantly in front of us this time." The two elders laughed. After snatching the top-grade poison pills, Fu Shishan had lost her last card, which meant that she could not take anything out to sell at the auction. In that case, Fu Shishan was definitely going to lose. Fu Tianlong laughed complacently. "Fu Shishan, you're still too young after all, huh? Ha ha! Ha ha!" In the room, Long Fei crazily drew outline in his mind, while holding onto a brush to continuously draw. For the entire night, Long Fei did not even blink as he continuously perfected it. Long Fei's or has arrived. The smoke thunder said to Long Fei in his room. Long Fei didn't even look at it and directly said, "There aren't enough ores, and there's still a lot of ores that I need." The smoke thunder did not understand. The ores were already piled into a small mountain. Was it not enough? Furthermore, Long Fei did not refine any treasures at all. He did not even use a single ore, always asking him to get the ore and treat him as a slave. The smoke thunder valued Long Fei a lot, but this time he was not in a good mood. Long Fei did not explain at all. He had no time to explain. The smoke thunder clenched its fists tightly, and then relaxed and turned to leave. He could only do what Fu Shishan had told him to do. "No way. This won't do either. No, It's not domineering enough. No, it's too heavy. No, I'm not building a toy. In his mind, he calculated again and again, rejecting his own setup time and time again, and coming up with a conclusion unceasingly. His comprehension ability was extremely strong. Quickly to improve, then to improve. Long Fei had completely entered a state of selflessness. Time passed by second. Long Fei did not stay at all. The oars in the courtyard were piled higher and higher, but Long Fei was still not satisfied. He needed more oars. In the end, the smoke thunder exploded. Kid, what exactly do you want to do? He ran no less than 10 times the entire night. You said you were going to refine weapons, but you were actually refining. Not even moving a single or was enough to make him run around. Wasn't this just toying with him? He had lived for more than 60 years, but he had never been played like this before. Even the head of the Fu family didn't dare to treat him like this. But Long Fei treated him like a slave. He was truly unhappy. However, he said that didn't even look at him. This made him even more furious. He was even more sure that Long Fei was messing with him. The smoke thunder roared, "Brat, get out here right now." At this time, Xiao Ying and Man Tuoyuo hurriedly walked out, and the two of them were completely shocked when they saw that the entire courtyard was filled with oars. "Uncle Lei, what's wrong? Is the Uncle Lei dragon young master angered you?" The smoke thunder shouted, "You think I'm a porter? You say that you want to forge a weapon, but you are refining. What do you mean by this? Are you kidding me?" The whole night was busy. Now, Long Fei didn't even respond and ignored him. How could he not be angry? Xiao Ying immediately said, "Uncle Lei, calm down. He might not have heard you." Man Tuoyuo also said, "Uncle Lei, don't be angry. He is like this. Once he is immersed, forget about talking. Even if the sky is falling down, he will not be able to hear anything." Suddenly, at this moment, Long Fei's eyes flashed with a bright light. He started to tremble in excitement. "I know. Chapter 18_8419/2356960. Understand. Haha, I thought of it." In the room, Long Fei laughed excitedly like a madman. And then, Long Fei said, "Uncle Lei, bring the ore into my room." The smoke thunder spat out its anger and shouted, "Brat, don't be too presumptuous. All men have fire." Long Fei really treated him as a porter. Long Fei was startled and said, "Uncle Lei, what happened to you?" Opening the door to take a look, he saw all of the oars in the courtyard. Long Fei made a rough estimation and said, "The oars might still be a little less." Smoke thunder. He was angry to begin with, and Long Fei's words were like adding oil to the fire, causing the fury in his heart to surge even higher. Xiaoing held on tightly. If he did not hold on, the smoke thunder would really go berserk. Man Tuoyuo asked, "Long Fei, what are you doing?" Long Fei did not know what had just happened, and just as Man Tuoyuo had started to speak, the moment he entered that realm of selflessness, he could not hear anything around him. Thus, seeing their angry looks, Long Fei was a little confused and asked, "What's wrong with you guys?" "You." The smoke thunder stared at him and said loudly, "Brat, you have guts. I won't serve you anymore." Finished. With a shake of his hands, he pushed Xiao Ying away and with a wave of his sleeves, walked out of the courtyard. Long Fei was puzzled. "What's wrong? Uncle Lei, what exactly happened here?" Xiao Ying looked at Long Fei angrily and bellowed, "I'm leaving too. There's more. Young Master Long, you're not handsome at all this time." Very angry, Man Tuoyuo looked at Long Fei with a hint of anger in his eyes. He followed Xiao Ying into the room, and the door closed with a bang. Long Fei was a little innocent as he muttered to himself, "What happened to me? Forget it. If you don't want to help, then don't. Can I help myself?" Long Fei didn't have any time to waste. He turned around and walked into the room as he let out a light breath. Phew. He calmed down and pushed out his breathing, mind, and messy thoughts. Then, Long Fei's eyes shook as the power of Celestial surged. The flames in the fire burned, and the ore was thrown into the fire. A few minutes later, Long Fei held onto the hammer with one hand and started to beat frantically as he said excitedly in his heart, I want to forge a set of level hero. At this moment, Long Fei's God's Soul herb had released its ability to level up the refining techniques, outlining it crazily in its mind, refining it according to the diagrams in its mind. In his previous life, all the level hero and steel monster that could only appear in movies, he had to finish them all here. Those steel monster were all made using advanced technology. In the future, they would need powerful motivation, energy, and the same for Long Fei. However, he replaced this power with power of celestial. Moreover, the energy released by these steel monster would be even more powerful. And that was only a small change. Long Fei had changed even more. Auction. Fu Tianlong. God Emperor Academy. Murong King's Manor. 9 Business Union. All of you wait here. This old man will let you know what it means to be shocked. What it means to be awesome. Long Fei's blood was boiling. Crazy hammering. Like a mad demon. At this moment, he had forgotten everything except that he wanted to help Fu Shishan regain his dignity. He wanted to make sure that the people who were bullying Fu Shishan were all stepping on him. Half a night passed. Long Fei's hammers did not stop. Suddenly, Long Fei moved and roared. Ancestor, inject some energy. Yin Huang Ancestor had been paying attention to Long Fei this whole time, and seeing Long Fei refining those strange things, he was completely confused. I don't know how he came up with these weird things. Hearing Long Fei's voice, Yin Huang Ancestor replied, Oh. And then, when a strand of the Yin Huang Ancestor's power was injected, at this moment, Long Fei's idea charged madly into the steel monster with his own power, just like an electric current. Bang, bang, bang. Boom, boom, boom. A series of powerful attacks. With the influx of the powerful energy, the steel monster seemed to have come to life as its body emitted a fiery glow. In the Great Desolate Mountain, Long Fei's refining techniques had absorbed countless amounts of fire essence, so everything he refined would have fire attribute. This steel monster was the same. Boom! The steel monster suddenly stood up and stood behind Long Fei with incomparable ferocity. Long Fei took a look and said excitedly, Just wait to shock everyone. The idea withdrew. Before I, Yin Huang, could even sense the power of this gigantic beast, Long Fei had already summoned it back into the space ring. Long Fei reminded him by saying, Ancestor, wait until the auction to see more. At that time, you will be shocked too. Yin Huang and his dad laughed. Naughty. Next, the second piece of work began. From late at night until morning. From morning to noon, into the evening, and then into the night. Long Fei had never heard of it. The ores in the courtyard were getting fewer and fewer, and the works of Long Fei's space ring were also increasing in number. At the same time, his spirit burst pills were becoming fewer and fewer. The power of Celestial was completely insufficient and could only be used by the spirit burst pill. For Fu Shishan, what was a mere spirit burst pill worth? In the early hours of the morning, Long Fei finished the last work. With only a bit of the ore left, Long Fei muttered, What is it being refined? Creating another steel monster is definitely not enough. Refining a sword? I've never refined one before. How do I refine it? Moreover, ordinary swords are of no use at all. Sword refinement requires even more energy ores. Long Fei muttered in his heart. At this moment, Yin Huang Ancestor said, Among the space ring, there are a huge pile of broken down immortal weapons. Once all of these are broken down, you'll be able to obtain a strong power ore. If you hadn't told me, I would have forgotten. Long Fei thought about the broken swords that came out from the dark underground blast. Although they were only broken swords, they were still immortal weapons, so as long as they were reconstructed successfully, they would be considered good weapons. However, Ancestor, how are we going to break up these handicapped veterans? Long Fei did not know how to decompose techniques. Yin Huang Ancestor slightly said, Leave your idea under my control. I'll pass it down to you. 10 seconds later. Ding. Equals half carat float hashtag life carat. Congratulations player Long Fei for comprehending decomposition technique. You have gained 100 experience points. Power of Celestial 100 points. The reward is 100 points. Damn, this works too? Long Fei shouted excitedly. With the disintegration technique, in the future, he would be able to disintegrate some of the useful materials from spirit treasures, and Long Fei laughed sinisterly. Ancestor, in the future, I will be using this to disintegrate holy artifacts. Yin Huang Ancestor's gaze darkened. Damn, I've been tricked by you. Chapter 28_8419/2356961. What a powerful energy. What a powerful energy. This is an immortal grade weapon. Long Fei released the broken sword. He was extremely shocked in his heart. Although it was a broken sword, the power within it was extremely strong. It was a type of power that could not be controlled. Adding on the fact that Long Fei hadn't rested for a few days, his body was extremely exhausted. It was even harder to control. Bam! A loud sound echoed out. Long Fei was sent flying by a powerful force. The blood on his chest was boiling as he cursed in his heart. Damn, is it that strong? The Yin Huang Ancestor said. Of course it's powerful. This is the remnant sword of the power of Celestial. In my opinion, these broken swords were refined by a crafting madman of the God Emperor Academy. It contains a powerful power of Celestial. It only mutated after being swallowed by these demon beasts. Long Fei slightly said. Then, Yin Huang Ancestor exhaled and said, It's time for me to show you my hand. Kid, you have to look carefully. I'll only do it once. Yin Huang Ancestor said seriously. And then, Long Fei walked to the side of the refining platform. His heart sank and calmed down. Following that, Long Fei's body was being controlled by the Yin Huang Ancestor. Control the chi first. Back control, the Yin Huang Ancestor said lightly. Strength is used as support, chi is used as the main, and energy is used as the main. I want to let the powerful energy in the broken sword to flow and draw on by itself. TL. Chi equals 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 chi. But do not let them escape your control. They can be arrogant, they can be impudent, but they absolutely cannot poop on your head or be controlled by them. Suddenly, the power of the Yin Huang Ancestor moved and shouted, Calm down. Boom! Sparks flew in all directions as the hammer landed. The powerful force suddenly sank and was forcibly knocked back. Next, the Yin Huang Ancestor's hammer descended once again. Refining is like a battle. I have to learn how to be gentle with you. How can I be gentle with you? Bang, bang, bang. The Yin Huang Ancestor began to beat crazily. Each time, the power was different. It could be fierce or it could be soft and weak. It was hard to fathom. However, Long Fei slowly comprehended something. After all, his current comprehension ability had already reached an extremely high realm. 10 minutes later, boom! Yin Huang's father's hammer exploded like a bomb, but he still shouted in his heart, Done. Wang. On top of the refining platform, a 2-meter-long berserk blade appeared. It looked similar to a dragon salyer, but there was no dragon or carvings. It looked just like a piece of black wooden board. There was no aura of power. There was no arrogance at all. The saber was the overlord. But you can't see anything with this knife. It's like nothing at all. Huff, huff. The Yin Huang Ancestor panted heavily as he muttered, The mental strength of this remnant soul of mine is truly weak. I can't even hold on while refining my weapon. All right, kid, go experience it for yourself. Whatever you want with this blade, it's not as good as the dragon salyer. So just treat it as a little contribution for me. Finished. Yin Huang and his father disappeared just like that. He was going to rest. Long Fei watched as the artifact was lifted up with the black long blade. Only after a full 10 minutes had passed did it slowly calm down. In this instant, Long Fei's eyes suddenly shook. Buzz! His mind exploded, and his sea of consciousness fiercely churned up. Powerful. It was incredibly powerful. Its power was like a rolling sea of anger, incomparably arrogant and tyrannical. This was a world that belonged to a hegemony, and it was completely different from the dragon salyer. The style was completely different. However, one was yipping. The other was the domineering aura of dragon's fury. This blade is very strong, but it is still far from being able to compare with the dragon salyer. Weapon: unnamed, grade. Immortal, grade 9 damage. Description: insolent and endless saber energy. Domineering strength. 1 move. 1 slash. Release with full force. Ding. Do you want to name a weapon? Without even thinking about it, Long Fei immediately shouted, "Bah!" Ding. Weapon tyrant successfully named. Long Fei's hand loosened slightly, and his body quickly left this kind of arrogant and tyrannical world. This kind of feeling was very special. This was true domination. This blade, Long Fei did not immediately make up his mind. After all, this was a blade refined by the ancestor. Yin Huang ancestor acted as if he knew what Long Fei was thinking. Brat, this blade does not match your status. You already have a dragon salyer. Take this blade and auction it. Actually, Yin Huang ancestor also wanted to know what the price of this blade was. This was something every creator wanted to know. Long Fei said, "Ancestor, you want to be smug, right?" Yin Huang ancestor laughed. "You noticed it, haha. Lad, hurry up and refine your sword. The Xianming sword is not by your side. You need a sword as your weapon." "Sword?" Long Fei laughed lightly and said, "Indeed, I need a sword. One, the sword of the future." And then Long Fei moved. Decomposition technique. Ding. Disintegration successful. A broken sword was formed. Disintegration technique. Ding. Disintegration successful. Yet another sword broke apart. It continued to decompose. Long Fei split all the broken swords that had exploded out and also divided the Beast King's sword amongst them. Yin Huang ancestor was stunned. "Kid, are you crazy again? You can't control this power at all." Long Fei became excited and said, "Ancestor, let me summarize your refining just now. 2 words, violence." "Huh?" Yin Huang ancestor was stunned for a moment and said, "What violence? Kid, did you not listen to all that I just said?" At this moment, Long Fei did not speak anymore. The idea moved. Enchanted. Buzz. He turned around and became an ugly sky demon, shouting in his heart, "Wu Shuang, open. God's Bone Taboo, level 1. Open the 2nd level. Open the 3rd and the 4th. The 5th floor. Open." Boom. Long Fei's body could not bear it any longer. His body had already reached its limit. The power of the heavenly bone of the 5th floor opened up to the 1st floor, and all the bones in his body were covered with incomparable pain. Adding on the fact that he was unparalleled at the 4th rank, this made him even more miserable. Crazy again. Yin Huang ancestor hurriedly moved his idea and protected Long Fei's heart veins and sea of consciousness. At the same time, Long Fei laughed madly in his heart and muttered, "I want to forge a devil sword. I, Long Fei. It's a unique devil sword." And then, Baidu search. Half afloat, Long Fei took out the ore that was already soaked in the god's devil ancient cases, blood dripping from the ore. The arrogance of demonic intent filled every corner of the room. Long Fei quickly refined it like a madman. Chapter 38_8419/2356962. Then God Emperor City became lively. Once a year, the joint 10 Commercial Alliances auction was going to start today. This time it was huge. The scale was unprecedented. Not only were there a lot of participants, there were also a lot of important figures. Just the God Emperor Academy elders alone had invited 3 of them. It was also said that he had invited an honorary vice principal of the God Emperor Academy. The Li clan could only follow suit. Similarly, those who were qualified to enter the auction had extraordinary backgrounds. The young master of the Devil sect of the Dark Domain, and the young master of the Iron Ox family of the Wilderness region. They were all big shots. The tickets to the auction were all sold out, and those who wanted to go in and take a look were countless. One ticket was sold for 100,000 taels of silver each. In this way, the supply was still unable to meet the demand. Early in the morning, in the backyard of God's Phoenix Pavilion, there was a feeling of suppression. At this moment, the courtyard was already packed with people. Fu Tianlong shouted, Fu Shishan, the other 9 business unionists have handed over their items for the auction to prepare, but you have not yet. What do you mean? You didn't hand over any of them? Did you not manage to get a single thing these past few days? As the person in charge of the God Emperor's city, what are you cooking? Fu Tianlong reprimanded her heavily. The smoke thunder could not watch this any longer, and said, Elder Fu, aren't your words a little too harsh? You should be well aware of some things. Without waiting for him to finish speaking, Fu Tianlong glared at him and shouted, Who do you think you are? You're only a slave in the Fu family. Are you qualified to talk to me? You dog. Fu Shishan, if you don't know how to discipline slaves, I can do it for you. Fu Tianlong shouted loudly. At this time, he was unbridled, because he could completely crush Fu Shishan. The smoke thunder's face sank. Fu Shishan said, Fu Tianlong, I do not need you to criticize my people. I will take responsibility for this matter. You do not need to worry about me. She had given up. She broke her leg in the past few days, but no one wanted to help her. Since the absolute poison pill man Tuoluo refined had been stolen, she became even more desperate. The auction was going to start in less than 2 hours, but she couldn't take out a single item, so there was nothing she could do. Humph, you're in charge, another clan elder said in disdain. Fu Shishan, can you afford it? Now that the 10 commercial alliances auction has become a 9 business union alliances alliance, you still can't take out a single thing. And you've even disgraced the Fengyuan Merchant Union. Are you responsible for it? Why are you so responsible? Fu Tianlong laughed. When she says to take responsibility, let her take responsibility. I shall see how she will take responsibility. He was extremely pleased with himself. When he came in the morning, he already knew that Fu Shishan wouldn't be able to take out a single thing. This way, the God Emperor's city, Fengyuan Merchant Union, and even the Fu clan did not have Fu Shishan status. In this game, Fu Shishan had already been eliminated. They had victory in their hands. Fu Shishan's eyes darkened and his body trembled. He slowly stood up. I won't trouble you guys to worry about me taking responsibility. Uncle Tianlong, I only want to tell you one thing. Internal strife will only cause the Fu family to decline. The heavens are looking at the people, and the heavens are looking at the things that you have done. You are very clear in your heart. Fu Tianlong glared at him and laughed coldly. You little girl, it's not your place to teach me a lesson, Humph. Fu Shishan, you admit defeat? Fu Tianlong looked at Fu Shishan smugly and laughed. Little niece, I also want to tell you something. The process is not important, and the result is the most important, understand? At this moment, Xiao Ying said angrily, Who said we lost? We haven't lost yet. Everyone looked at Xiao Ying. Xiao Ying clenched his fists tightly and said, Big sis Sister Yunshan and Young Master Long. Young Master Long will definitely not disappoint this Sister Yunshan. The oars in the yard were all gone. When the smoke thunder came, she was also secretly shocked. At this moment, ha ha, ha ha ha, Fu Tianlong and the other 2 elders laughed loudly, mocked crazily, and said, If you didn't say anything, I would have forgotten. There's still that trash from the southern domain. Where is he? He's still in seclusion refining. Have you managed to produce a pile of feces? I think he's already escaped, huh? From start to finish, he had never placed Long Fei in his eyes. The people from the South Horizon region were useless, not the climate. Now that he was in seclusion refining, he was practically trash amongst trash. Fu Shishan yelled and said, Fu Tianlong, although you say that I am all right, you cannot say Long Fei. He could say she was okay, but he couldn't say Long Fei. Fu Tianlong laughed in disdain. Tell me, what happened to him? Isn't he a trash? Aren't the people of the South Horizon region useless? Fu Shishan, if not for him, would you have fallen to such a state? Speaking of which, I really have to thank him. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have had the chance to step on you. Ha ha ha! Another clan elder laughed. Fu Shishan, is your little lover that important? More important than the Feng Yuan Merchant Union? Ha ha. Women are born to be played by men. Fu Shishan, do you want to play with him? But you were played by him, huh? The three elders were fearless. Because Fu Shishan had already lost. From today onwards, they are in charge of God Emperor's city. Fu Shishan's face turned green, his fists clenched tightly, joints popping out. Man, Tuo Yuo, Xiao Ying, and the Smoke Thunderess were all extremely angry, but there was nothing they could do. The auction was the key. If they couldn't take out anything to auction, Fu Tianlong and the others could easily crush them. Right at that moment, rumble, 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 a stream of demonic energy shot up into the sky and turned into a fuse, causing the entire room to explode. A loud sound was heard, and in the blink of an eye, the entire room was turned into a pile of ruins. The furnace blew up. Air. Fu Tianlong laughed complacently. He laughed so hard that he fell forward and back, almost to death. He pointed to the ruins. Artifact forging? Ha ha! This is the man that you raised, the great genius of the South Horizon region. Ha ha! To be able to destroy our house, that is truly amazing. Have you seen a crafting furnace explosion? Not only did he blow up the furnace, he even blew up the house. He was extremely pleased with himself. The last chance to make a comeback was gone. Fu Shishan's face turned anxious. She no longer cared about the auction, what kind of losses the Feng Yuan Merchant Union would face. She only cared about Long Fei's safety right now, Long Fei. Baidu search. Half afloat Xiaoying also shouted loudly, young Master Long. Cough, cough, cough. Cough, cough, cough. A series of coughs sounded out from the rubble, and then a figure slowly walked out from the dust. It's okay. I'm still alive. Chapter 48_8419/2356963. The three women relaxed. The three women relaxed. Long Fei slowly walked out of the ruins. His entire body was covered in dust, and he was in a slightly sorry state. Coupled with the fact that he had not rested for the past few days, he looked somewhat exhausted. Fu Shishan's heart ached a little when he saw this. He walked over and brushed off the dust off Long Fei's body and asked, "Are you injured?" Xiao Ying and Man Tuo Yuo also walked forward and said, "Don't make such a big commotion since you're scared to death." They were all worried for Long Fei. Long Fei scratched his head and laughed simple-mindedly. "I made you guys worry, I'm sorry." After Fu Shishan confirmed that Long Fei was not injured, he calmed down and said, "It's good that you're fine. It's good that you're fine." Since the house had been blown up like this, refining naturally failed as well. However, Fu Shishan also did not hold much hope for Long Fei. Long Fei looked at the worry in Fu Shishan's eyes and laughed lightly. "Sis, let's go to the auction." Fu Shishan was startled and reacted. She then took out 3 tickets and a space ring and said, "There are 3 tickets and 1,000 fairy stones. You guys can go." Fu Shishan, "That 1,000 fairy stones, it's not a small number." Fu Tianlong immediately shouted. Fu Shishan turned around angrily and said, "Fu Tianlong, this is my own money. You don't need to worry about it." Long Fei did not accept, but said, "Sis, we're going to sell something, not buy something. You could just keep your own money. I don't need to buy anything." "Selling? What are you selling?" Fu Shishan asked. Xiaoying became excited and asked, "Young Master Long, you refine a weapon?" Long Fei nodded his head and said, "I refined a little, but there was a little less, or, if not, I could have forged a little more." "Ha ha!" Fu Tianlong laughed in disdain and said, "Brat, you're still pretending to be cool at this time, a bit more. Have you refined something in the past few days? You even blew up our Feng Yuan Merchant Union's courtyard. You have to accompany us there." Fu Tianlong shouted. He did not believe that Long Fei could refine something like that. Long Fei laughed. "Whether or not I can refine something doesn't seem to have anything to do with you, right?" Fu Tianlong said, "Now, take it out and let us see. Don't even mention those trash. Once we arrive at the auction house, it will only embarrass us even more. Take it out. Take it out and take a look." "Kid, I don't think you can take it out." The 3 elders were overbearing. Long Fei smirked and said, "You guys don't have anything to do with this auction. What qualifications do you have to watch? You can have a look if you want. However, you three will be responsible for this auction as well. If you're responsible, I will show it to you." Long Fei said in amusement. Fu Tianlong sneered and said, "You want to bomb us? Brat, you're still too young. You want us to take responsibility and take the blame for you, huh? Stop dreaming." "Exactly." Long Fei's voice sunk. He suddenly shouted angrily, "Since you do not wish to take responsibility, then watch your 8 ancestors. What qualifications do you have to look at it? F***CK. Lousy has given you face, right?" It was a fierce scolding. If Fu Shishan was not present, Long Fei would have charged over and give them a fierce slap. So many people bullying a woman. What does this look like? Fu Tianlong's face sank, and anger surged out of him. The other 2 elders immediately shouted, "Brat, it's not your turn to be impudent here. I think you're tired of living." The corner of Long Fei's mouth moved. He sneered and said, "I am being presumptuous, and am just tired of living. If you have the guts, come up and touch this daddy here and try, and see if I can kill you or not." I'm so unhappy. As long as Fu Tianlong dared to touch him, he would definitely retaliate. The bodyguards of the arrogant immortal state were indeed strong, but not as strong as the giant demons, not as strong as the power of the Yan Huang ancestor. Fu Tianlong stopped the 2 old men beside him and said, "Let him be so impudent. Let us see what he will use to participate in the auction. If he likes to disgrace himself, we can let him go. He's just a good-for-nothing from the South Horizon region anyway. He's already used to losing face." While they were talking, Long Fei's eyes darkened as he stared darkly at Fu Tianlong and said, "If you have the guts, say one more word." A cold, killing intent emerged. Fu Tianlong's heart trembled. A cold chill hit his body and made him extremely uncomfortable. But he quickly recovered as he sneered. "Fu Shishan, is this the man you reared?" "Humph." Fu Shishan frowned. She looked at Long Fei. Long Fei looked at her and said, "Sis, do you believe me? In just 3 days, he could refine something good. Even if one refined an immortal grade spirit treasure, the other merchant union would still have one. Even higher grade items would not have any advantages and would only embarrass themselves." The Fengyuan merchant union's face. Seeing Long Fei's resolute expression, Fu Shishan's heart tightened as he said in a heavy tone, "Big Sis believes in you." Xiaoying also said, "I believe you too." Man to all you said, "I believe you." Even the smoke thunder that was annoyed by Long Fei last night said lightly, "Brat, this old man believes in you too." Long Fei laughed and said, "Then let's go to the auction venue. Today, I want you to become the most famous person in the God Emperor city. I will make the Fengyuan Merchant Union an unsurpassable existence." Long Fei heavily said as he looked at Fu Shishan in his heart. Fu Shishan was ready to throw caution to the wind. In any case, she had already thought of an even worse ending. How much worse could it be? Long Fei hinted at Man to all you and said, "Bring a few more high-ranked spirit grass with you." Man to all you nodded. And then, the group of 5 walked out of the courtyard. In the yard, Fu Tianlong's face was ashen. He did not know why he was stunned by Long Fei at that moment. "Big brother, what should we do?" Fu Tianlong sneered and said, "Go take a look, see how much rubbish this brat has refined, and how he will suffer the ridicule of tens of thousands of people. Fu Shishan, no matter what, you will definitely lose today. In another place, Moro Mansion. Ha. The Fengyuan Merchant Union has yet to hand over anything. After this auction, their market in the God Emperor city will be quickly divided." Morong Fenlei laughed. Jean Sanyuan smiled and said, "This is all thanks to the intelligence provided by Lord Morong. Right, here are 3,000 fairy stones. We, the family Jean Union, will only help young Master Mu Rong find the war beast type immortal roots at the auction. It was very worth it to be able to topple this generation of the Fengyuan Merchant Union. Moreover, he was ready for everything. This time, the Fengyuan Merchant Union would definitely lose miserably." Morong Fenlei laughed, Obtaining 3,000 fairy stones just like that was too easy. With this money, the Murong prince's estate could expand in power. Baidu's sister-in-law, AA half. Floating life, strongest upgrade system Murong Tian walked out from the side of the hall and said with a faint smile, "As long as Family Gene Union cooperates with our Murong Prince's manor, I will allow your Family Gene Union to occupy the entire market in the God Emperor City." Haha, this was just the beginning. Next, he had to deal with Long Fei. Chapter 5. Thank you, brothers, for your monthly tickets. There will be another 100 chapters this month, and more than once. 8_8419/2356964. God Emperor Auction House. God Emperor Auction House. What's going on? Does your Feng Yuan Merchant Union still want to participate in the auction? If you don't want to participate, then notify us. We don't have time to wait for you. A little steward of the God Emperor Auction House said in an arrogant manner. The reason why they were so arrogant was because they had heard that the Feng Yuan Merchant Union's great treasure had been robbed. In that case, the Feng Yuan Merchant Union could not even raise its head in God Emperor City, so he did not put Fu Shishan in his eyes. Fu Shishan hurriedly apologized and said, "I came late. I came late." "You're late. Is your Feng Yuan Merchant Union that awesome? The items that the Merchant Union will be auctioning a day ago were placed here, and we have already publicized it. Today is the start of the show. Why don't you hand it over now?" Your Feng Yuan Merchant Union has quite the airs." The little steward was unwilling to forgive him. In the distance, Fu Tianlong and the rest all started to laugh coldly. He couldn't even manage a small steward, yet he still wanted to participate in the auction. At this moment, Fu Shishan took out a fairy stones from his hand. At this moment, Long Fei didn't say a word. The dragon salure moved and directly placed it on the manager's neck, and with a weight of 103,000 kilograms, it directly crushed the bones in his shoulder. Try saying another fucking word more. One should deal with such people in the most barbaric way possible. The steward's face was pale with fear, and his body was trembling nonstop. He was bending down and was unable to withstand the strong aura coming from the dragon salure. Long Fei sneered and said, "Are you still King blind?" The little steward didn't even dare to speak, as he just kept shaking his head. Long Fei continued, "There is no need to hand over the items that the Feng Yuan Merchant Union wants to auction. When the time comes, they will send people to deliver them one by one." The little steward nodded his head heavily. Long Fei retracted his dragon salure and coldly glanced at Fu Tianlong, who was not far behind him. Sneering coldly, he said, "You like watching jokes, right? Let's see if you can smile later on." "Sis, let's go in," Long Fei said. Under normal circumstances, auction items had to be submitted to the auction house in advance. The auction house would then use the advantages of this item to promote itself, creating a huge commotion. This way, many people would come looking for this item. It will have a very big publicity effect. Also, there was another way. He didn't hand in the goods and only provided a list of items. As long as someone called him down, he or she would take out the items and make a brief introduction before proceeding to the auction. Under these circumstances, it would be extremely difficult. Because there was no promotion, no one understood this kind of thing. In just a few minutes, you couldn't explain the characteristics of the item, and no one knew that it would not sell it for a high price. The auction for the Feng Yuan Merchant Union would be very difficult. Up till now, Fu Shishan did not have any confidence. It was not because he did not believe in Long Fei, but because the other 9 business unionists were too powerful. No matter how good the pill refined by Long Fei was, it could only be compared to the other merchant union. The Feng Yuan Merchant Union would be trampled by them. Room number 13. This is the box of your Feng Yuan Merchant Union. The little steward was so scared of Long Fei that he almost broke down in fright and didn't dare to be reckless anymore. Moreover, he was very clear in his heart that Long Fei even dared to kill a member of the God Emperor Academy, let alone a small auction manager like him. Long Fei took out a fairy stones and threw it to him, saying, "This is your tip. As long as you do what I say properly, you will receive even more. Also, I believe that after today, you will become the head of this auction house." Finished. Long Fei walked into the private box with Fu Shishan and the others. The manager was stunned for a long time. He looked at the fairy stones in his hands and thought about what Long Fei had said. Supervisor? Is he joking? Huff. Everyone else gets a good share of the merchant union, but I'm the unluckiest one, the Fengyuan merchant union. However, he gritted his teeth and said, "You even dare to kill the students of God Emperor Academy. What else do you not dare to do? I'm willing to give it my all. I'll believe you for a while." And then he left quickly and made arrangements. He even took out all of his savings and made a bet. At this moment, Chen Tianfei, who had disappeared for a few days, rushed into the private box in a flurry of emotions. F*CK. I even thought you were being thrown into a moat to feed the fishes. Long Fei heaved a sigh of relief in his heart. The fact that this fatty had not appeared for a few days made him worry a lot. Fatty Chun did not waste any time. He took out his list and said, "These merchant union items that are given to the auction house, they all have some precious treasures on them. They're all amazing things. I really don't know how the merchant union got their hands on these things." Fu Shishan took the list and looked at it. His face sank. His face revealed a bitter smile, and he slowly sat back on his chair, his expression ugly. Xiao Ying looked at the name list. Immortal grade, Rainbow Immortal Cauldron Celestial grade, 7-star Fate Sword. There's also a Tier 5 Immortal Foundation. Oh my god, these things. Where did all this come from? Isn't this too extravagant? 9 Business Union is way too rich, right? Fatty Chan said, "I've participated in an auction before, and not only that, there are also some top treasures that have yet to appear. When the critical moment comes, I'll definitely use them to crush the entire audience." How is this an auction? This is simply a fight to the death. 10 commercial alliances controlled 90% of the market share of the Sky Marshall continent. It could be said that they were the richest people in the world. As far as merchants were concerned, the auction was a battlefield, a place of slaughter. Whoever had the best would have the highest cultivation. Whoever had the highest chance of winning would be able to dominate the entire arena. Fu Shishan was in complete despair. She couldn't even compete with the treasures on the list, not to mention the secret treasures that the merchant union would only use at critical moments. How to fight? He was not a match at all. Long Fei was very calm, without any ripples. She asked slightly, "Fatty, what did you compete in the first round?" "I heard that too." "Pills." Fatty Chan said, "Regarding pills, the third-ranked member of the merchant union has a huge advantage over the others. I wonder where we managed to get some immortal pills. The rest are all heaven-tier pills." "Right. What pills do we have?" The moment he said that, the room suddenly became cold. Man Toaluo's expression became extremely ugly. After being injured, the quality of the pills she refined would not reach the level she wanted. They would not even be able to make it onto the stage. Alchemy required all one's strength to prepare for battle. Being injured would greatly affect the quality of one's alchemy. Even if it was Man Toaluo, she did her best. Fatty Chin's expression changed as he said, "We don't even have any pills. Then what should we do?" Sister-in-law, 1 / plus health, strongest upgrade system. There isn't much time left until the auction. Are we not going to compete? Long Fei slightly said, "Of course we have to compete. Not only do we have to compete, I also want to win." Chapter 18_8419/2356965. The market share of medicinal pills was extremely heavy. The market share of medicinal pills was extremely heavy. It could be said that in the merchant union's business chain, medicinal pills held an important position. Many members of the merchant union started their business with elixirs. Just like the Fengyuan merchant union, many people started their business with a small elixir. If the elixir auction failed, it would bring a huge loss to the Fengyuan merchant union. Fatty Chan was stunned for a moment and said, "Compete? We don't even have pills, so how can we compete with them?" Fu Shishan also muttered, "Long Fei, it's too short. We can't find any pills to participate in the competition, and furthermore, even if we have pills, we will not be able to surpass those." She gave up. The reason they were here was entirely because of Long Fei. Long Fei did not explain. Instead, he said to the fatty, "Go to the entrance of the room and remember that no one is allowed to let him in." Fatty Chin scratched his head and said, "Yes." He also didn't know what Long Fei wanted to do, so he would do whatever Long Fei said. Long Fei said, "Man Tualuo, did you bring the spirit grass?" Man Tualuo nodded his head and said, "Yes, they're all high-ranked spirit grass, and there are also a few stalks of immortal grass. I've tried to use these immortal herbs before, and they are very difficult to control." Long Fei said, "It's fine. From now on, you have to thoroughly understand the attributes of each spirit grass. And remember, we must be clear about this. In addition, Xiaoying, how is the matter that I asked you to investigate?" Long Fei looked at Xiaoying and asked. Xiaoying said, "I noticed just now about a third of the people here are upper-level aristocrats in the God Emperor city. Men are the majority." "Understood," Long Fei replied, then said to Fu Xishan, "Sis, I need you to delay that little manager just now. I need some time." Fu Xishan didn't know what Long Fei was going to do, but looking at Long Fei's serious expression, she couldn't help but pour cold water on him and said, "I'm going to do it." Long Fei said, "Xiaoying, you stay on standby." Xiaoying replied, "Understood." Everyone in the private room started working according to Long Fei's orders. Long Fei closed his eyes as he leaned back on the chair. In less than half a minute, a soft sound of breathing could be heard. He fell asleep. After 3 days and 3 nights of not closing his eyes, coupled with his powerful artifact forging mental strength and physical strength, he was already exhausted to the limit. Alchemy. It required strong mental control. He needed a little time, a little rest, to restore his energy. Xiaoying looked at the fast-sleeping Long Fei and wanted to say something, but he was stopped by a glare from Man Tualuo. When Man Tualuo swiftly understood the attributes of these spirit grass, the private room was completely silent. However, at this moment, the auction below the private box had already begun. The entire auction place was packed with people, over 10,000 of them, and many of them had even used special methods to buy station tickets. There were no seats at all. In the venue, the higher the rank, the more valuable it was. The Li Imperial clan, the Imperial clan of the Divine Emperor, let alone a private room. There wasn't even a seat in the second row. They were all important figures. An elder of the God Emperor Academy, an elder of the Dark Academy, Lord of the Wilderness. There were also some experts. Most of them were students who had broken the admission limit, as well as the disciples who had powerful backgrounds. They were all preparing for the entrance examination half a month later. If he could buy something that could help him increase his cultivation, he would have another chance for the exam. They were mainly targeted at the crowd. Other than them, there were also the aristocratic families in God Emperor City. Most of them came here to watch the show, because if they wanted to buy something first, they would have to weigh the strength of the clan. What kind of market it was, what kind of goods it was. What kind of people, what kind of goods. People were the market, and they were the key to determining the quality of goods. If you couldn't do anything, everyone would like it, and you could only cater to a portion of people. It was enough as long as he could catch this group of people. He had to know how to choose. At this moment, there was a clamor from the audience. "Let's begin. Stop wasting Lousy's time. Hurry up and start. I can't even wait. It's time. What are we waiting for? Hurry up and start." The auctioneer walked onto the stage with a smile on his face. He was smiling like a Methria Buddha. In his heart, he thought that after today, he would receive a huge reward. He would be able to keep a few women in the fragrance court for a year or 2. Guests, nice to meet you all. I'm Lu Dafu, the supervisor here. Let me introduce the auction segment to you all. Lu Dafu stepped onto the stage and said, not waiting for him to finish. Then someone started to clamor. "What about that hammer thing? Who doesn't know of the people who have entered the venue? Let's hurry up and start." Lu Dafu was not angry. On the contrary, he was happy to see so many people below the stage clamoring and shouting, because they were extremely anxious, and this was the effect he wanted. He unhurriedly introduced himself. The first segment, the medicinal pills. Every time 10 commercial alliances takes out a set of medicinal pellets, they'll be auctioned off in succession, from low to high. The second segment, spirit treasures are also of low to high quality. The third segment, special items, free movement of 10 commercial alliances. This is also the part that everyone is looking forward to the most. I believe that 10 commercial alliances will definitely be able to produce many unexpected treasures. All right, below, the host of the auction, Shi Qian. The host went up on stage. The auction began. It was at this moment. There was a heated argument outside the door. I trust you. I put all my money on it, but what about you? You guys have not even taken out a single pill yet. So how can you expect me to account for it? I'm kneeling down for all of you. Stop messing with me, okay? That steward used 3 fairy stones to get the last pill out of the Fengyuan Merchant Union. But what about it? The auction had already started, and he hadn't even seen the face of the pill yet. How could he not be anxious? Suddenly, Long Fei opened his eyes, looked at Man Tuoyuo, and asked, "How long have I been asleep for?" Xiao Ying said, "It's been almost half an hour. The auction has already begun. If we cannot take out any more pills, the Fengyuan Merchant Union will." Sigh. She did not continue. Long Fei's heart sank. And then, the idea moved. Green Dragon Tripod. Come out. The idea seeped into the Green Dragon Tripod and said, "Azure Dragon Ancestor, I don't care if you can hear me or not. This is an extremely important matter. You have to help me. If you still think of me as your boss, then help me with everything you can." The Azure Dragon Ancestor is inside the powder tripod. Even though the Azure Dragon Ancestor said that before he found the Dragon Domain, he would definitely not appear. Sister-in-law 1-/ plus health, strongest upgrade system, however. Just as Long Fei had said, Long Fei was his boss, so he had to give his all to help him. A loud buzzing sound came from inside the Green Dragon Tripod. Long Fei's mind was at peace. His mind did not even blink an eye. The power of Celestial activated his Green Dragon Tripod and said, "Take out all the spirit grass that have male strengths that you are familiar with out." Chapter 28_8419/2356966. Man Tuoyuo was startled. Man Tuoyuo was startled. Faster. Long Fei did not give her time to react, nor did he have the time to explain anything else. Man Tuoyuo immediately took out a spirit grass and placed it in Long Fei's hands, then said, "This spirit grass is known as the Yuan Yang grass. It contains a dense amount of scorching sun energy. It is a high-grade spirit grass used to reconcile water attribution spirit grass." No matter how fast, Long Fei urged, Man Tuoyuo explained even more quickly, as if his words were flying. However, Long Fei kept urging her, "Hurry, hurry, hurry, hurry." Xiaoying was dazzled by what he saw. Long Fei controlled the powder tripod with one hand and took it into his hands with the other. His technique was exceptionally quick, and there was no aura seeping out of the powder tripod, just like what Long Fei said in the Medicine Valley. The real good pills were not overflowing with spiritual energy, but the effects of the spirit grass were all absorbed by the pill. That was the real good pill. In the auction. Next, let's invite the Thunder Merchant Union. One of the medicine boys from the Thunder Merchant Union walked up, and behind him followed a young mistress carrying a group of pills. The ingredient boy's expression was calm. He was not worried at all about the large scene that had unfolded before him. On the contrary, he was very calm as he said lightly, "This group of pills is a set of Heaven Xian pellets refined by Master Ling Zi." Damn, he started with a Heaven Xian core? The Thunder Merchant Union is indeed the Thunder Merchant Union. It seems like he does not want to give any other merchant union any chance in regards to pills. The pellet of the Thunder Merchant Union is ranked first in the 10 commercial alliances. The auction this time will definitely be his. The medicine boy explained a few sentences. Then, the sounds of bidding from below became louder and louder, each time more intense than the last. 30 million, 50 million, 7 million. In the end, the bid was 200,000, and this was the highest price. These were only heaven-ranked pills. They would not be auctioned at a high price, and fairy stones would not be used to bid for them. Next is the family gene union. What he offers is a set of sea explosion pills, a total of 10 pills. Separate bids will be raised, and each pill will be auctioned for 10 million silver. Each bid must be no less than 1 million silver. In addition, the quality of this set of sea explosion pills is the first grade of heaven stage, and the quality is the best quality pill. As soon as his voice faded, the entire audience was in an uproar. Sea explosion pill was a type of pill that could increase a warrior's sea of consciousness. It was extremely difficult to refine, and it was even more difficult when it was of the highest quality. At this moment, the scene turned into a stir, and the bidding became even fiercer. Inside the Jin clan's private room, Jin Sanyuan revealed a proud smile and said, "This time, not only will I trample the Feng Yuan Merchant Union to death, I will also monopolize the pills in God Emperor City. So what is the Thunder Merchant Union worth?" Ha ha ha. He was immensely proud. No one could stop him this time. 100 million. 130 million. I want all of these. 5 billion. Suddenly, a young man stood up in the middle of the field. His voice overwhelmed the audience's voice, and then the entire arena went silent. Jin Sanyuan was beaming with joy. 5 billion, ha! This is only the beginning. The men from the Thunder Merchant Union had ugly expressions on their faces. The difference of 10 times in price had undoubtedly trampled the entire Thunder Merchant Union to death. Immediately after, a few more pills from the Merchant Union were delivered, but they did not cause a sensation like before. Finally, Shi Qian slightly said, "We invite the Feng Yuan Merchant Alliance." Then, he laughed and said, "This year, the Feng Yuan Merchant Union is a bit more mysterious. Everything was not submitted in advance. You could tell from one look that they were prepared, ha ha ha." He wanted to stir up the atmosphere. However, someone below the stage jeered, "It's not that he's mysterious, but that he doesn't have anything to hand over. I heard that the items that the Feng Yuan Merchant Union is auctioning have all been robbed by bandits, so he can't take out a single item." I heard that too. The manager of the Feng Yuan Merchant Union had been borrowing things for several days, but he didn't get a single thing. He must have got nothing. The Feng Yuan Merchant Union, get out of God Emperor City. Are you still not coming out to play with us? Many people in the audience started clamoring. The fact that something from the Feng Yuan Merchant Union had been robbed was kept a secret, but now the whole city knows. Fu Tianlong looked at the two people behind him and said, "Did you guys say it?" They shook their heads. Fu Tianlong laughed complacently. "It doesn't matter if it was you all who said it. Let's see how long she can last. She can't even take out the most basic of medicinal pellets. Let's see how she dies this time." Jin Sanyuan also laughed complacently. "The Feng Yuan Merchant Union? Ha ha ha. After today, the God Emperor City will not have a place for you in the Feng Yuan Merchant Union." Ha ha. Murong Tian also laughed coldly. "Long Fei, is this what you relied on? With just a little trick, I made her instantly go bankrupt and fight against me in God Emperor City? You're too inexperienced." Ha ha. Many people were mocking the Feng Yuan Merchant Union. These people were the Navy in his previous life, and they were all clamoring. Fu Shishan, who was at the door, fell silent, unable to say a word. That manager was the same. He sat paralyzed on the ground and muttered, "It's over, it's over. Why would I choose to believe you? My fairy stones, my entire savings." His heart felt like it was about to die. He wanted to die, but he had spent 3 fairy stones to build a relationship, allowing the Feng Yuan Merchant Union to be the champion. But now, it's over. In the auction house, Shi Qian maintained his professional smile and said, "Feng Yuan Merchant Union, if you hear it, please come out. If you don't come out soon, I will disqualify your merchant union." It was at this moment. Long Fei opened the door and said to Fatty, "You go with him. This pill is called Long Yang Pill." Chun Tianfei immediately understood and became excited. Damn, boss's pills. It must be fun. Quick, quick, quick. It was as if the little steward had been resurrected and did not care if the pills were useful or not. "He's here. It's here, it's here." Just as Shi Qian was about to announce the cancellation of the Fengyuan Merchant Union's qualification, seeing them appear, Shi Qian said lightly, "Hurry and come up." Those who had just mocked the Fengyuan Merchant Union were stunned. Shi Qian looked at the pill in Fatty Chen's hand, which was still giving off steam, and thought to himself, "Just made it." However, this pill does not emit any spiritual energy. It should be a trash pill or even a piece of trash. After thinking about it, Shi Qian lost all interest and said, "Your Fengyuan Merchant Union is too awesome. Introduce yourself." Fatty Chun could not be bothered about Shi Qian's expression and said, "Let's not talk too much. This pill is called Longyang Pill, and it is even fiercer than a giant dragon. It can easily eat 7 women in one night, but the most important thing is it does not harm the body." In addition, Fatty Chun became excited. "Attention! This pill can stimulate the strongest power of your fire attribute, Immortal Roots, and allow you to break through as fast as you can." Finished. 36. Search. Half floating / / equals. There was no sound from below the stage. In the general's mansion's Chen family, a young man beside Chen Shaoshan stood up and laughed in disdain. "Chen Tianfei, you've completely lost face for the Chen family. Isn't that the yang strengthening pill in your hand?" Haha. Chapter 38_8419/2356967. Ha ha, ha ha, ha. Everyone in the hall laughed. This fatty is too funny. Even the aphrodisiac was brought to the auction, and the Fengyuan Merchant Union has become a swindler on the streets. Get lost. What do you think of this place? Everyone was laughing. The Chen family was laughing. Chen Shaoshan, Chen Yueran was laughing. The Murong King's Manor was laughing. Murong Fenglei, Murong Tian was laughing. Fu Tianlong was laughing. The Family Gene Union was laughing, and so were the other people from the Merchant Union. They were laughing at Chen Tianfei and at the Fengyuan Merchant Union. Such a huge auction was actually selling aphrodisiac. The Fengyuan Merchant Union instantly fell into the bottomless abyss. Fu Shishan's eyes closed slightly. Her heart was as dead as death. Without even a shred of hope, she had to bear all the responsibility. She wouldn't be able to turn her body in this lifetime. Xiao Ying said anxiously, "Young Master Long, what do we do? This is the auction house of the God Emperor's city. What about the male strengthening medicine? What?" Long Fei walked to the window outside the private room and looked at Fatty Chun, who had an ugly expression. Long Fei shouted loudly, "Fatty, let them have a bite. Don't they like to laugh? Then slap their faces." It was not loud. However, many people heard it. His voice quickly quieted down. The young man from the Chun family stood up and looked at Long Fei with disdain. "Trash from the southern domain. You don't even have the qualifications to speak in this God Emperor's city." The person from the South Horizon region? Isn't the South Horizon region the gathering place for trash? What did this person just say? Slap our faces? What does he count as? Brat, come down if you have the guts. Watch how I kill you. Chen Shaoshan laughed coldly. "Chen Tianfei, you really are a pig. You don't even have a brain, and you're still following this brat from the southern domain." The mocking laughter became even louder than before. The South Horizon region was known as the place where trash gathered. After the calamity that happened in the Long family, the South Horizon region rarely appeared in the eyes of the immortal domain, facing the mockery of everyone else. Long Fei did not have any change in expression. Instead, he looked at Chen Tianfei and said, "Fatty, believe in me." Without saying a word, Chen Tianfei picked up a pill and swallowed it. "Gudong." He swallowed the pill into his mouth. Chen Yueran laughed mockingly. "Do whatever he tells you to do. Do you want to eat sh*t too? Ha ha, what a pig." In that instant, Chen Tianfei's eyes flashed a ray of light. His entire body became extremely hot and dry. Immediately sitting cross-legged, the vigorous energy in his body continued to attack his 4 limbs and 100 of bones. Most importantly, the holy armor fairy vein in his body released a force that was much stronger than before. Wang, A ray of light shot out from within the suit of light. It directly covered Chun Tianfei's entire body. Wong. Another wave of power shot out, and a golden light scattered in all directions. With Fatty as the center, a halo of light spread out, covering the entire hall like rays of Sirius. Wong. Another halo of light appeared. Its power was extremely dense, full of the power of the immortal foundation. It was the power of invincible defense. In that instant, in the first row, an old man stood up with an excited expression and said with a deep voice, "Immortal foundation has broken through. His immortal foundation has broken through." Boom! The power in Chun Tianfei's body rushed out and exploded, causing the golden light in the halo to become even stronger. Holy armor fairy vein breakthrough. At the same time, Chun Tianfei's cultivation broke through the shackles of the spiritual level immediately. More importantly, the divine armor's power had awakened. It was a complete awakening. Buzz. Boom. Before the old man could finish speaking, Chun Tianfei unleashed his strength once again. Holy armor fairy vein has broken through and entered the third stage. Chun Tianfei's cultivation also broke through once again, instantly reaching the second stage of the spirit immortal realm. At this moment, Chun Tianfei opened his eyes and stood up in excitement. Looking at Long Fei, who was sitting on the balcony of the private box, he yelled with incomparable excitement, "Boss, boss, boss, I broke through, huh?" That feeling of excitement was something that no one could understand. Too excited, and it had risen by 2 levels in a row. Who could do it? He only asked who could do it. With just this pill, Chun Tianfei was able to accomplish it easily. At this moment, the entire audience was shocked. No sound came out. They were all dumbstruck as they looked at Chun Tianfei, who was on the stage, completely dumbfounded. At this moment, the clan elder suddenly rushed to the stage. Without waiting for Chun Tianfei to agree, he picked up an idea pellet and started to sense it. His face darkened, and his eyes shone brightly as he said, "Exquisite, exquisite. A heaven-ranked grade 9 pill." As soon as his voice faded, the entire audience was in an uproar. Who was the person sitting in the first row? With such an honorable identity, an elder of the God Emperor Academy, his words were authority. He looked at Chun Tianfei and said, "Your immortal foundation has surpassed the 3rd grade, and your defense is extremely strong. Kid, if you are willing, I can give your God Emperor Academy the qualifications to make an exception. God Emperor Academy's admission pass. It was not bought using money, but was invited by the clan elders of the God Emperor Academy in front of so many people." He was moved. This was too unbelievable. At this moment, the entire arena was in an uproar. Suddenly, Long Fei's voice sank as he laughed coldly. "Chin Shaoshan, you're laughing. Morong Feng Lei, you F***king smile. You people who like to ridicule people, F***king laugh for lousy. Keep fucking laughing. Why aren't you laughing? People of the 9 business union laugh. Fu Tianlong, you old thing, why don't you laugh? Keep laughing for lousy." Long Fei's voice became louder and louder, each time stronger than the last. Every sound was like a palm that fiercely smashed down. This slap caused their faces to burn incomparably hard. Face smacking. He wanted to give it a good thrashing, They were beaten to the point that they couldn't even breathe. The Chun family, Morong King Manor, Fu Tianlong, Family Gene Union, and those people who had mocked Chun Tianfei and the Fengyuan Merchant Union were all speechless. Was completely crushed by Long Fei. Especially the Chun family. Chun Tianfei's broken record caused Chun Xiaoshan's face to hurt. That feeling was too unbearable. It was the same for everyone in the Chun family. No member of the Chun family has yet met the criteria for admission. But now, Chun Tianfei, who was abandoned by the Chun family, was accepted as an exception. Chun Tianfei was very excited. He took a glance at Long Fei on the window ledge, then said to the elder from God Emperor Academy, "I will definitely go to God Emperor Academy, but it's not a pass. I want to take the exam with my own strength. I will use my strength to prove everything." Imperceptibly, Chun Tianfei pretended to be awesome. Yet another slap in the face for the Chun family. That elder said excitedly, "All right, I will wait for you at God Emperor Academy." Shi Qian walked up excitedly and asked, "May I ask if you can call out an auction now?" Chapter 48_8419/2356968. Too excited. Too excited. He was so excited that he even forgot to auction it. Immortal Foundation had broken through 2 levels. He had broken through 2 levels. It could strengthen the male, but this pill, this was too crazy. Chun Tianfei slightly said, "Sure, there are only 3 now. The starting bid is 100 million. Without waiting for Shi Qian to speak, someone immediately stood up. "I bid 3 fairy stones. Fairy stones is bigger than gold. Gold is bigger than silver." They had just used silver to bid, but now, just the 3 fairy stones were already several times more expensive than the 1.5 billion silver from Family Gene Union. As soon as he finished, "I bid 5 fairy stones S. 8. I bid 15 pills. Whoever's going to fight with me for it. I'm in a hurry." A pot-bellied man stood up. He needed Long Yang Pill S. Not for cultivation base or immortal foundation, but for the invincible aphrodisiac effect. The moment he said that, the entire audience went silent. Shi Qian was so excited that his body was trembling. The auction had just pushed the price to a small place, and it had never happened before. For the first round of the pill auction, there was the first time a fairy stones had bid, and it was even 15 fairy stones. This was too crazy. 15 fairy stones as for one time, twice, thrice. Clang. Deal. Shi Qian was incomparably excited and said, "The Feng Yuan Merchant Alliance is too strong." In box 13, Xiaoying let out a long breath. She even felt as if she hadn't breathed for a few minutes, as if her brain was suffering from a lack of oxygen. Looking at Long Fei's back, she excitedly jumped up. "Young Master Long is mighty. Young Master Long is domineering." Man Taoyuo also looked at Long Fei, incomparably excited, but she did not express it out loud. His alchemy technique has improved again, too amazing. It wasn't that Long Fei improved. It was the green dragon tripod that was helping. Long Fei's heart moved, and he said lightly, "Azure Dragon Ancestor, thank you." Roar. A dragon's roar came out from the powder tripod. At this moment, Fu Shishan covered her ears with both hands. She was completely unaware of what was happening in the auction, until the little manager ran up as though he was being chased, and looked at Fu Shishan, who was covering his ears with his hands. She said emotionally, "That's right, that's us. Ha ha. The first round has created a miracle. 15 fairy stones, 15 fairy stones. Even immortal pills couldn't get such a high price. Too awesome. The Feng Yuan Merchant Union is too awesome." The manager was so excited that he was at a loss for words. Fu Shishan looked at him in a daze and asked, "What did you say?" "I say the Feng Yuan Merchant Union is too awesome. Just now, they sent out 15 fairy stones S at a high price, creating a record high up in the history of the auction. Too awesome." The steward's blood was boiling. He had never even dreamed that his legs would be shaking just now. At this moment, Chun Tianfei's 250-kilogram body hurriedly ran up to them and said, "Sister Yinshan, finish them in the first round, huh? Awesome. It feels so good." Chun Tianfei was also incomparably excited, especially when he saw the ashen faces of Murong Fenglei and the others. "Right. Just now, the elder of the God Emperor Academy asked me who refined the pill. He wants to see the boss." Fatty Chen naturally knew that it was Long Fei who had refined the pill. Fu Shishan was even more confused. She walked into the private box and looked at Long Fei and the other 2. Xiaoying immediately said, "Sister Yinshan, we won the first round, ha ha." Fu Shishan stared at Long Fei, his eyes trembling, tears flowing uncontrollably down his cheeks. Long Fei looked at her tears and felt his heart ache, saying, "Sis." Chun Tianfei said, "Boss, that elder from God Emperor Academy wants to see you." Long Fei came back to reality and said, "You told him that I refined it?" Chun Tianfei shook his head no. However, He knows that the Long Yang pill was just released. Long Fei said, I won't. The clan elders of the God Emperor Academy are amazing. Thinking of the face of the Chun family's elder and how he had extorted Fu Shishan's 5,000 fairy stones S. Long Fei suddenly had a deep hatred for the God Emperor Academy's elder. Ha ha! Boss is indeed the boss. He's too awesome. Shin Tianfei became excited. The immortal foundation had broken through. The divine armor's power had been awakened. The current Fatty Chun was no longer the Fatty Chun of the past. Now he truly admired Long Fei from the bottom of his heart. It was also at this moment. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for completing the Holy Armor King Kong mission. Long Fei slightly smiled in his heart and thought to himself, Fifth King, the Holy Armor King Kong has returned to its position. How preposterous! What exactly is going on? It is impossible for Fu Shishan to have such a high-quality pellet. How did she manage to get it? Fu Tianlong was so angry that smoke was coming out from his head, and he was in a bad mood. In the future, just this Long Yang pill would be enough to support the entire God Emperor City's medicine market. Even with this pill, the Avalon of 5 elements would be invincible in this auction. It was completely unshakable. Long Yang pill was only on the market for the first time. Once promoted, it would quickly expand. Fu Tianlong was unhappy. Family Gene Union's Gene Sanyuan was even more displeased and started shouting crazily in the private box. Fu Shishan, you still want to do that? Let's see how long you can struggle. Gene Sanyuan said fiercely. At this moment, Gene Sanyuan said, next round will be filled with all kinds of immortal pills. This time, we will definitely crush the Fengyuan Merchant Union. Other than Family Gene Union, the other members of the Merchant Union were the same. They were all crushed by the Long Yang pill to the point that they couldn't even breathe, so they all took out their best pellets. However, Chun Tianfei looked at Long Fei and said, Boss, what do we use for the second round of pills? Long Fei smiled and said, second round? Third round. Give up immediately. Everyone was stunned. Only Fu Shishan said indifferently, commercial means just this pellet is enough to make it an unsurpassable legend. Indeed, it was exactly as Long Fei had expected. The second round of 9 Business Union was going to go all out, just that. No pellet could compare to the value of Long Yang pill, even if it was a mortal stage pellet. 9 Business Union was beheaded and bleeding profusely. However, the only winner of this auction was the Fengyuan Merchant Union. The fatty instantly broke through 2 levels. The 15 fairy stones S were bidding way too ferociously. An unsurpassable existence. Everyone only remembered the Long Yang pill. As for the others, they had not memorized them at all. This almost made Gene Sanyuan spit blood. After giving up twice in a row, many people were looking forward to what the Fengyuan Merchant Union had. Shi Qian walked up to the stage and said gently, second round, Spirit Treasure Auction. The main event began. It was at this moment. Lu Dafu, the manager of the auction house, walked onto the stage and said, you're not allowed to give up the Spirit Treasure Auction. If you give up again, the auction will be disqualified and you will not be allowed to enter the auction house again for 10 years. Clearly, it was targeting the Fengyuan Merchant Union. This was Jin Sunyuan's plan, and he would absolutely not let the Fengyuan Merchant Union have any chance to retreat. Long Fei smirked. You can't give up, right? Sure. Then I'll play with you all and let you all know what it feels like to be crushed. Transformer. Tianju. Or is it to shake the heavens? Haha. Chapter 5. Thank you for your support. 8_8419/2356969. The elixir auction was just an appetizer. The elixir auction was just an appetizer. The real contest was at the end. Pills were consumables. Even the best pills would not sell for a good price, but soul treasures were different. A war device could change a battle. A spirit treasure could increase a martial artist's cultivation. Just like playing a game, levels and equipment were more important. Shi Qian said excitedly, next, we will proceed to the second round of the auction. Family Gene Union's glazed double-edged sword. Immortal grade 3, two-handed blade. The starting price is 30 fairy stones. Each increment must not be less than 1 fairy stones. Begin bidding. His business fell. The audience went into an uproar. Family Gene Union is really generous. He immediately started using his immortal grade spirit artifact. It seems like they're really going too far this time. Ha! The Feng Yuan Merchant Union stole the limelight just now. This time, they're going to step back. The Long Yang Pill of the Feng Yuan Merchant Union are powerful, but if I hear that their soul treasures have been stolen, will they still be able to take them out? Someone was whispering, while the other side was crazily bidding. A grade 3 immortal spirit weapon was extremely sharp. Even the ordinary students of God Emperor Academy did not have many, and the competition was intense. 50 pills, 55, 60. The price continued to rise. Jean San Yuan laughed proudly. Feng Yuan Merchant Union? Don't change your fate just because you have a pill. You're dead for sure today, haha. Feng Yuan Merchant Union, I'm sure of it. This time, he was very well prepared. No matter what, he had to step down the Feng Yuan Merchant Union. 100 fairy stones going once. The second time, 3 times deal. Shirqian knocked his gavel heavily and said excitedly, "Congratulations, young lady." A 20-year-old lady with a stable expression walked up onto the stage and handed over the fairy stone zest. Holding the sword in both hands and testing it out, she smiled in satisfaction. Now, the second item. Immortal Mystical Alliance's Immortal Wheel. First grade immortal with an additional flight attribute. The price is set at 15 fairy stones, and each bid cannot be lower than 1 fairy stones. The bidding on the stage was going crazy. In room 13, other than Long Fei, everyone else had gloomy expressions. Chun Tianfei looked at Long Fei and said, "Boss, what exactly are we going to take out this time?" "Yeah. What exactly have you refined in these 3 days? Can't you tell us now?" Xiaoling was also anxious to know. Man Taoyuo looked at Long Fei and did not say a word. She also wanted to know, but he was also worried, because Long Fei's alchemy was strong, but that did not mean that he was good at forging. It had to be known that forging alchemy and forging artifacts were 2 completely different concepts that could not be obtained simultaneously. Fu Xishan also looked at Long Fei without saying a word. Her heart was very complicated. Her mind was constantly thinking about the Long Yang Pill. As long as she could promote it well, the Feng Yuan Merchant Union might have a chance of reviving, but the refining of the Long Yang Pill could only be done by Long Fei. And as for refining, she did not hold much hope for that. Long Fei looked at them all and laughed. "You will know soon enough." Haha. Amongst the space ring, those few sculptures seemed to be staying in the Divine Sea. The last one, the Feng Yuan Merchant Union. As for the items, Shirqian was startled. He still did not have a name list and smiled. The Feng Yuan Merchant Union's most recent auction is very mysterious. All the names have not been reported. Please do it now. Feng Yuan Merchant Union. Everyone looked in the direction of box 13. There was no sound. The Feng Yuan Merchant Union is calling for you. Are you deaf? You won't be able to take it out with a single look. If you give it up again, you'll lose the right to do so. I want to protest. This is disrespect to us, and I suggest that the Feng Yuan Merchant Union's auction qualification be revoked. In this way, the irresponsible merchant union would leave the God Emperor City. You're right, get out of God Emperor City. Many people clamored again. The Chun family, Murong King's Manor, Fu Tianlong, and the Family Gene Union all started to mock him. Fu Tianlong laughed coldly. That man Taoyuo has refined a set of pills. Do you think you could do anything with just this set? It depends on how you guys do it this time. You can't even take out a single item, can you? Haha. Refining artifacts was much more difficult than alchemy. He was sure that the Feng Yuan Merchant Union could not take out anything good. Even if they could, it would not be anything good. They just had to wait for others to mock them. At this moment, Long Fei walked out of the private box and slowly walked down. The steward was on the verge of tears. "Ancestor, walk faster. Can you walk faster? I beg of you." Long Fei laughed. What's the rush? Don't worry. No one will disqualify the Feng Merchant Union. They're all waiting to see us make a fool of ourselves. Joking about us? Long Fei smirked. Let's see who'll be the laughing stock. Seeing Long Fei walk up the stage, Shiqian relaxed and said, You finally came. Lu Dafu stopped Long Fei and said, I'll give you all a warning. If you dare to disrespect this arena again, I'll... Not waiting for him to finish, Long Fei laughed. I know. Did you disqualify the Feng Merchant Union? If you cancel it, you can cancel it now. If you cancel our qualification as the Feng Merchant Union, you can just wait to be expelled. They did not place Lu Dafu in their eyes at all. Long Fei walked up the stage and said faintly, This thing of mine. Right. How much was the two-handed sword sent by the lowly merchant union just now? Long Fei turned and looked at Shiqian. Shiqian frowned and said softly, That is the family Jin Union. Long Fei replied, I know, it's the slut merchant union after all. At this moment, from room number 7, a disciple of the family Jin Union rushed out and shouted, Brad, are you courting death? Long Fei raised his eyes slightly and said, I'm courting death. Come down and bite me. Shiqian quickly said, The two-handed sword is the highest price in the first round of the spirit treasure. It auctioned 100 fairy stones. 100. There really are quite a few. Long Fei said indifferently. The disciple on the windowsill in the room immediately smiled and said, This is a price you have never seen before, right? Trash from the South Horizon region. A country bumpkin. Long Fei looked at the disciple and laughed coldly. I will remember you. He memorized the appearance of the disciple in his mind. At this moment, in his mind, there existed a list of deaths. Long Fei laughed and said, You are very honored. You are the first. And then, Long Fei's voice sank and said faintly, This item of mine, the starting price is the highest price I have ever offered. 100 fairy stones, and the bid must not be less than 10 at a time. 36. Oh, search. Half floating / / equals. The audience went into an uproar. They were all jeering at Long Fei for thinking about money crazily. It was at this moment Long Fei moved and said solemnly, Steel monster, heaven-shaking evil, come out. Chapter 18_8419/2356970. His voice sank. His voice sank. It overshadowed the sound of the audience. At this moment, rumble, a loud noise came from the stage as a 10-meter-tall steel monster was summoned by Long Fei. Its entire body was pitch black, and a stream of light flowed out from the power of Celestial. It was suffused with a jet-black glow and an incomparable aura. Domineering, absolutely domineering. In this instant, the people on the platform and below the platform were all dumbstruck. Young Master Long, this is too overbearing. What is this? How come I've never seen it before? Oh my God, what exactly is this? What beast mount can you show off as this guy? If we were to walk on the Vermilion Bird Streets, wouldn't that be the same as walking on air? In an instant, it caused a sensation. This sensation was because of the domineering appearance of shaking the heavens. It was a domineering aura. Putting everything else aside, this aura alone was far stronger than those war beasts. At this moment, one of the patriarchs in the first row lightly said, This is a spirit treasure auction, not a circus. What's the use of this big guy of yours? An elder of the God Emperor Academy. Furthermore, he was a trainer specializing in cultivation equipment. In the new hands, the refining techniques was something he had taught. He could see that there was no aura of power on the body of the mighty heaven. It was like a huge model and was useless. However, he had to admit that this thing was very domineering. Exactly. The elders of the God Emperor Academy have said it already. What's the use of a big guy like you? Can you fight? Can you kill people? Can you help us increase our fighting strength? I think it's just a pile of scrap metal. Many people began to mock him, especially the people from the Morone King's Manor and the Chun family. They couldn't wait for Long Fei to be stomped into the mud and not be able to get back up. Long Fei looked at those elders from the God Emperor Academy and said lightly, "Elder, can you help me with something?" The elders of the God Emperor Academy were stunned. At this moment, Lu Dafu immediately shouted, "Brat, what kind of identity do you have to actually have the help of the Academy's elders? Please take note of your identity." It was also at this time. Another person had appeared on the death list in Long Fei's mind, Lu Dafu. Long Fei did not even glance at Lu Dafu. Instead, he looked at the elder from God Emperor Academy. "All right." Zhou Lian smiled, walked up the stage, and said, "How can I help you?" It was very calm. However, he was still shocked. He said, "This item of yours, although it can't be sold, I would like to store for myself. It's not a soul treasure, but it's also a work of art. It's very well crafted." Long Fei laughed. "He is a savage spirit treasure. He'd probably be upset if he knew you said he was a work of art." Zhou Yin was startled for a moment and said, "Could it be that it still has its own consciousness?" Long Fei smiled slightly and said, "That's not certain." Zhou Yin frowned, looked at Long Fei, and laughed. "Brat, talking big is useless. Say it. Do you need me to help you with anything?" Long Fei asked. "Do you have any fairy stones with you? Can you lend me one?" At this moment, the audience was in an uproar again. Lu Dafu began to curse again and said, "I'll make you pay attention to your identity." Zhou Yin took out a fairy stones and said, "No problem, but if you disappoint me." Long Fei took the fairy stones and said, "Clan Elder, move back a little. I'm afraid I might hurt you." Zhou Yin retreated a few more steps. Long Fei said, "A little further, a little farther, and I will push it off the platform." Zhou Yin's face became unsightly. He felt that he was played by Long Fei. A lot of people below the stage began to curse as well. Even the clan elders of the God Emperor Academy dare to play. Are you courting death? You overestimate yourself. Elder Zhou is the refiner instructor of a grade 1 freshman. He said that this thing is useless and definitely won't be wrong. Get lost. He still wants to sell 100 fairy stones S. He must be crazy about money. Long Fei said to Shi Qian, "You retreat as well." Shi Qian's face ashened. At this time, he had no other choice. However, someone angrily walked over, pointed at Long Fei's nose and scolded him. "Brat, I don't care what you're doing. I command you right now, get lost." At this moment, the fairy stones moved in Long Fei's hand and directly stabbed into Jintian's chest. Buzz. Suddenly, the fairy stones' energy was quickly absorbed into the black hole, causing his eyes to shine brightly. Bam! 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 The energy spread throughout his body and spread to the rest of his body. Wei Jintian worriedly knelt down and said to Long Fei with a heavy tone, "Master." It was also at this time. Long Fei laughed indifferently. "Someone is trying to ambush me." As soon as he finished, Wei Jintian suddenly jumped up into the air and landed right in front of Lu Dafu, his gigantic body blocking his path. Lu Dafu was instantly dumbstruck. His legs were weak and his forehead was drenched in cold sweat. Chua! Wei Jintian's arm moved as a steel broadsword slashed out horizontally. Crack! Lu Dafu's head was sent flying, blood spurting out. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Lu Dafu for obtaining 100 EXP, 60 power of celestial points, and 10 energy values. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining fairy stones, 20 points. The name Lu Dafu on the death list disappeared from his mind. Long Fei didn't even look at Lu Dafu as he swept his gaze across the entire audience. Looking at their stupefied expressions, he said in a bland voice, "Continue to mock this father. I like to slap your faces. Feeling good? I feel so good, huh?" Long Fei arrogantly roared out. It completely crushed the entire audience. It was even more powerful than the Lonyang pill. Even a few elders of the God Emperor Academy stood up in shock. They did not look at Lu Dafu, but stared at the 5-meter-tall steel monster instead. After the mighty god's General Lu Dafu was killed in a second, he turned around and walked behind Long Fei, and a mechanical voice sounded out, "Master, The danger has been resolved. And then, it was like a bodyguard protecting Long Fei's back. What did it mean by domineering? This was domineering. He was incomparably domineering. Zhou Yin was completely dumbfounded. His attainments in artifact forging could be said to have reached a high level, but he had never thought of this sort of thing and had never seen it before. Moreover, more importantly, just as Long Fei had said, this guy seemed to have his own consciousness. Sister-in-law, // plus health, strongest upgrade system this. How awesome was this? This was a domain that he could not touch at all. Zhou Yin walked up to him with incomparable excitement. I bid 1,000 fairy stones. Chapter 28_8419/2356971. I bid 1,000 fairy stones. Zhou Yin was excited. I bid 1,000 fairy stones. Zhou Yin was excited. After studying refining for so many years, this was the first time that he was able to forge something like this. Yin Huang ancestor was also stunned and said, "Good boy, this guy. Powerful and domineering. Awesome and awesome. Awesome and awesome indeed." Ha ha! Long Fei started laughing and shouted, 1,000 fairy stones going once. Are there any higher prices? Without waiting for Long Fei to finish speaking, he said, I bid 1,300 pills. 1,500, 1,700, 1,900, 2,500. The price had risen so quickly that the entire venue was shocked. Lu Li's two-handed swords, immortal wheels, blades, swords, sticks, they were all trash in front of the might of Jintian. To refine it, one had to refine such an amazing thing. As long as energy is injected into it, it can bring you to fly and even bring you to the heavens. It was the holy artifact that had to take risks, take quests, test, and fight. The Li clan bids 2,700 fairy stones. Our Li clan and the Fengyuan Merchant Union have a strategic cooperation, can we? Not waiting for him to finish. Your Li clan is awesome. I bid 3,000, and all of them have been snatched away from me. If you were to fight with me again, I will kill you all. As soon as he finished, 3 brawny men in the second row stood up, an expert from the desolate land. Among them, there was one youth that did not stand up. He kept looking at Long Fei. Long Fei said, 3,000 fairy stones going once. The second time. The third time. Deal. Long Fei took the wooden mallet in Shi Qian's hand and knocked it down, then said with a smile, Congratulations, shaking heaven is now yours. I will tell you how to use it after you've paid me. It's very simple. It was also at this time. The young man from the wilderness region stood up and said slightly, Can we be friends? Long Fei said, You want to be friends? No problem, but not a single cent less. The teenager laughed and said, We don't have much money in the wilderness. We can have as many fairy stones as we want. Although the wilderness was poor, however, it produced even heavier ores. There was even a vein of fairy stones. There were countless fairy stones, however. This was just a rumor, so it was unclear if it was true or not. Long Fei said, I like being friends with rich people. For the sake of friends, I allow you to lose 1 fairy stones. Ha ha! This young man was the young lord of the wilderness, Lei Zhong. He was accepted by the Godhead Academy, but he was still accepted by the Godhead Academy. He refused. He walked on the path of an assessment. He was extremely disdainful towards those prodigies that had broken the record. After paying the money, Long Fei whispered a few sentences into Lei Zhong's ear. All of it were instructions on how to move heaven's shaking art. And then, Lei Zhong kept vibrating heaven into the space ring and said excitedly, It's violent enough, I like it. Zhou Yin stood right beside him. Watching as Lei Chong Tian withdrew his power, his eyes were filled with envy. He wanted to research this kind of steel monster, but he looked at Long Fei and asked, Can you teach me? As soon as he finished, the entire venue shook. What was Zhou Yin's identity? An elder of the God Emperor Academy. He actually asked Xiang Longfei for guidance. What kind of concept was that? At this moment, Fu Tianlong's face was burning. Chen Xiaoshan's face was burning as well. as though he had been slapped ruthlessly. Elder, Xiang Longfei asked. You have to understand that they were all ridiculing Longfei for being trash of the southern domain. Back in the Chun clan's ancestral hall, everyone in the Chun clan scoffed at him, full of ridicule. At that time, who would have known he was such a genius? Fu Tianlong was even more so. Zhou Lian asked. Just this point was enough for the Fengyuan Merchant Union to boast for 10 years. However, Long Fei smiled. This is something that I need to ask her. It is something that was refined by a strong member of the Fengyuan Merchant Union. If you want to ask her these questions, you have to ask the owner of the God's Phoenix Pavilion. If she agrees, you should be able to get your approval from her. Zhou Lian's heart relaxed, and he said lightly, Thank you. How could Long Fei refine such a high-tech item? He didn't believe it either. Refining was the same as cultivating. It required a strong foundation to break through. How old was Long Fei? In his early 20s, he could not possibly be a master refiner, let alone a steel monster that had never appeared before. At this moment, Fu Tianlong heaved a sigh of relief. I knew it. How could someone from the South Horizon region refine such a good item? However, who exactly was helping Fu Shishan? Did her father send someone? The few people from the Chun family also heaved a sigh of relief. Anyone could have refined it, as long as it was not Long Fei's. Zhou Yin walked down the stage. Long Fei slightly said, Elder, don't be anxious too. Don't worry about the people who didn't bid. This is just the beginning. There's still something even more powerful. Right? Everyone from the 9 Business Union, listen up. I don't care who you are fighting against the Fengyuan Merchant Union. I will accept it. I alone can crush you to death. Arrogant beyond compare. It was obvious that the 9 Business Union was making a move against the Fengyuan Merchant Union, but since they wanted to play, they might as well. Long Fei swept his gaze across them and laughed coldly. Take out all the other great treasures. I, Long Fei, will receive them all by myself. This was how arrogant he was. This was how crazy he was. He had to carry the flag of the Fengyuan Merchant Union alone. Fu Shishan was crying loudly in the private room. Man To All Yuo and Xiao Ying were also so excited that hot tears flowed down their faces. Chen Tianfei stood on the windowsill and roared out, Boss is mighty, boss is awesome, huh? Long Fei's arrogance had completely angered the people from 9 Business Union. Too arrogant. He's too arrogant. I've never seen such a wild person before. He doesn't know how to restrain himself at all. I do want to see how many of these steel monster he has. I'm tired of living. Is this a war against the 9 Business Union? The people of 9 Business Union were in an extremely bad mood. Who were they? Anyone who could control the economic lifeline of the Tianwu continent would be considered an unimaginable existence. How could a mere Long Fei be so arrogant? Who could tolerate this? Jean Sanyuan shattered a teacup in his hand and said with a heavy tone, You dog, let's see how long you can continue being so arrogant for. Long Fei left the stage. The manager rushed forward. He wanted to pounce and kiss Long Fei ruthlessly because he had just received orders from his superior that he would be the manager of this auction house from today onwards. Floating life. Table of contents, no windows? A ++ looking at his excited expression, Long Fei said, The matter of Lu Dafu's death. The manager immediately said, Don't worry, it's already been settled. Long Fei said, That's right. The manager became excited. Brother, you're too sharp. From today onwards, everyone in God Emperor City will worship you. Chapter 38_8419/2356972. At this moment, a manager walked forward and whispered something into Shi Qian's ears. Shi Qian trembled and said, It's a bit sudden. The people from 9 Business Union have simultaneously suggested adjusting the auction price and have them replace all the spirit treasures that were originally being auctioned. Seems like the people from the 9 Business Union are also preparing to get serious. Give them a little time to adjust. Let's wait and see. The heat was gone. The 9 Business Union was crushed by the Fengyuan Merchant Union twice. In another secret room. Too arrogant. That brat is too arrogant. It's not that he's arrogant. It's that the Fengyuan Merchant Union is arrogant. I didn't expect to get their hands on something that we've never seen before, and it's also because of this that it caused such a sensation. I can't even stand the power of a steel monster. We'll be discussing this first. The second round of the auction is about to begin. How should we deal with him? The 9 business union joined forces. These 9 people were all part of the merchant union. Jean Sanyuan said, using ordinary things would not cause much of a blow to the fountain of commerce. I suggest that it's time to take out some good stuff. Didn't he declare war on our 9 business union? Then let him know the power of our 9 business union. The big boss of the Thunder Merchant Union immediately said, you're right. We can't let him continue acting so arrogantly. I've already sent someone to prepare it. They will be here soon. I've transferred a piece of Immortal Stage Divine equipment over. If I don't show him some colors, I won't believe in the forest. Next, the big bosses of the Merchant Union expressed their opinions one after another. Moreover, they were all preparing quickly. No doubt about it. They had been angered by Long Fei. This was the first time this had happened. The Fengyuan Merchant Union dared to declare war on the 9 business union, but there was only one outcome: death. Fu Tianlong laughed complacently. Brat, you're still too inexperienced. Declaring war on the 9 business union is simply courting death. Big brother, this is going to be fun. It's more than fun. I think he's going to be played to death this time. Fu Shishan is dead for sure. Ha! Tian, this time, Murong Fenglei's brows tightened and said faintly, it's not easy to deal with them. The auction ended. 5,000 fairy stones were no longer a problem, so the matters of the God Emperor Academy would naturally be resolved. Furthermore, as the influence of the Fengyuan Merchant Union increased, even that master of his would probably not dare to move recklessly. The Fengyuan Merchant Union shocked the elders of the God Emperor Academy. It would definitely be protected. Murong Tian frowned and said, Father, I'm going out for a while. Murong Fenglei was startled. Murong Tian did not say anything and quietly walked to a corner of the arena. A middle-aged man dressed in black leaned against the wall. There was no aura on his body. Murong Tian stood in front of him and said slightly, Black Shark Faction Lord, are you willing to do business with these few thousand fairy stones? The man gently lifted his head, grinned, and said, Murong Tian, you call me in just for these words. Murong Tian laughed sinisterly. The middle-aged man's eyes shone with a cold light, and he began to excitedly laugh. This is Murong Tian's trump card. Black Shark Faction, God Emperor City's #1 gang, and also, Black Shark's strength was extremely strong. He had already reached the Berserk Immortal Peak realm, an unrivaled existence under the virtual immortals. Other than him, a group of assassins of the same level also came to Black Shark Faction. This was the strongest power of the Black Shark Faction. Murong Tian was worried that the Fengyuan Merchant Union would retaliate. After all, they were from the 10 commercial alliances and would have some background. However, after this, the Fengyuan Merchant Union would be robbed, and everyone would die. This way, Murong Tian looked at room number 13 in the distance, his mouth revealing a cold smile. Long Fei, are you going to fight with me? Mph, you really aren't qualified. Huh? In another place, a place where no one had noticed. At the top of the auction, a young lady wearing a veil sat on the roof. Her 2 slender legs were swaying, and she giggled. Interesting. It's getting more and more interesting. Her gaze was fixated on Long Fei. In room number 1, a disciple walked in and said, the people from Black Shark Faction want to take action. Huh, can't wait so soon. Don't worry. Disciple obeys. With that, he left. Ha ha ha. It seems like the young lord is in danger this time. With us here, who would dare to touch a single hair on his head? Black Shark Faction? This Black Shark is really taking itself seriously. Previously, the reason he didn't move is because he doesn't have anything to do with us. Then prepare to disappear from this world. There were 2 old men in room number 1. If Long Fei was here, he would definitely recognize one of them. The old man from the Yuling Island, the one who brought God's Water King Kong Lin Yusheng into the God Emperor Academy. He was the former principal of the God Emperor Academy. His name is Long Fei, young master. Everything seemed calm, but there was a surging undercurrent and a roaring sea. The atmosphere in the hall had changed. However, Fu Shishan and the others did not sense it, and neither did Long Fei sense that a big net was flying towards him. Half an hour later, Shi Qian walked back onto the stage and lightly said, "We can finally start. I can't even wait any longer. I believe you guys are the same." Now, conducting the second round of the Soul Treasure Auction. The first one to go on stage is the Dodge Merchant Union. While they were talking, an old man from the Dodge Merchant Union walked onto the stage. Behind him were 8 people. The 8 of them were carrying something heavy, something very heavy. The 8 robust men found this a bit unbearable. His body continued to tremble uncontrollably. The old man said slightly, "This item is the Primal Chaos Bell's grade, Immortal Stage Divine Equipment. The starting price is..." The old man turned and looked at Shi Qian. What was the highest level that the Feng Yuan Merchant Union produced just now? Shi Qian was startled and said, 3,000 fairy stones." The old man laughed disdainfully and said, "The starting bid will be 3,000 fairy stones." As soon as he finished, the old man walked to the shelf that was covered by red cloth and flipped it open. Wong! An explosive sound rang out, and the buzzing sound caused everyone's eardrums to become numb. Even the experts revealed painful expressions. After the old man finished speaking, he looked at Long Fei, who was not far away, and coldly laughed. "Even you accompanied us to declare war? Brat, you're too weak, do you understand?" Primordial Chaos Bell, the treasure of the Dodge Merchant Union in the God Emperor City. They just arrived. They didn't want to participate in the auction, but he wanted to make the arrogant Long Fei pay the price. Table of contents. He wanted to crush the Feng Yuan Merchant Union. Long Fei did not speak. Yin Huang Ancestor said excitedly, "Good stuff." Chapter 4 in the morning, he went up the mountain to offer sacrifices to his ancestors. He missed the time and the code. Today, there will be a 5th chapter. It was delivered in the afternoon. 8_8419/2356973. Long Fei asked, "How good is it?" Long Fei asked, "How good is it?" Yin Huang Ancestor replied, "Very good." While they were talking, he couldn't help but swallow his saliva, his face full of greed, and muttered, "If you let me eat it, I can help you train at least 10 ghost soldiers." 10. What level? Long Fei casually asked. Yin Huang Ancestor thought for a moment. Spiritual level. "Is that so?" Long Fei said one sentence, and did not speak any further. At this moment, the audience was in an uproar. The Primordial Chaos Bell was not for sale in the Dodge Merchant Union, but in order to suppress Long Fei, they couldn't care less. The 10 commercial alliances fought for one breath. Long Fei declared war on the 9 business union. Who could endure such a thing? "I bid 4,000 pills, 6,000, 8,000 fairy stones. I bid 10,000 fairy stones. Immortal Stage Divine Equipment." The levels were completely different, and there were not many even in the entire immortal domain. The 10,000 fairy stones was a sky rank number. However, Immortal Stage Divine Equipment were priceless. At this moment, "I bid 20,000 fairy stones." An old man wearing a black cloak stood up and called out a price. The entire audience went silent. The price of 20,000 gold coins was simply too high to bear. The old man's eyes flashed with a ray of light. He immediately said, 20,000 pills once." Long Fei laughed. "I bid 30,000. The moment Long Fei finished speaking, the entire audience went into an uproar as they all looked at Xiang Long Fei. 30,000 fairy stones. With so many fairy stones as cultivation resources, he could directly rush into the golden immortal rank, to the point that no one could stop him. The Yin Huang Ancestor was confused. "Kid, how can you have so much money?" Long Fei did not answer. The old man from the Dodge Merchant Union sneered and said disdainfully, "Brat, the auction is not a joke. Can you even take out 30,000 fairy stones?" "Exactly. You piece of trash from the South Horizon region. Can you even take him out?" A man in room number 6 said nervously. Long Fei raised his eyes slightly, remembering that person's appearance in his mind. There was one more person on the death list. Following that, Long Fei laughed coldly and said, "You know so much about me? What if I did? Am I not allowed to bid?" Room number 6 was where the Dodge Merchant Union was located. There was only one reason why he was so excited. He was worried that Long Fei would buy the primordial chaos bell. He wasn't just worried, he was very worried. At this time, the old man said, 50,000 fairy stones. Long Fei immediately said, "I bid 80,000 fairy stones." A few more people rushed out from the windowsill of room 6. Anger was written all over their faces as they shouted, "Kid, are you here to cause trouble?" Long Fei shrugged his shoulders and said, "You don't want me to bid? Such a good worry is naturally worth 80,000 fairy stones. I want to buy them. What about it? If you don't want to sell it, what are you going to do with it?" Very angry, everyone in the Dodge Merchant Union was furious. The more furious they were, the more confidence Long Fei had. The old man trembled slightly and shouted, 100,000 fairy stones. Long Fei immediately said without even thinking, "Give up." "Right. For the bidding price of 100,000 fairy stones, the auction house should be able to draw 5,000 fairy stones, right?" The corners of Long Fei's mouth drew back as he laughed excitedly. Long Fei looked at Shi Qian and said, "Still not hammering? Hurry and take out the commission. Don't count wrongly. It's 5,000 fairy stones S." Clang! With the strike of the hammer, Shi Qian shouted loudly, 100,000 fairy stones deal. The old man from the Dodge Merchant Union stared at Long Fei. Long Fei sighed. What a fool, losing 5,000 fairy stones for no reason. The Dodge Merchant Union must be rich, ha. "Brat, you—" The old man trembled. Long Fei asked, "What's wrong with me?" The old man could not say a single word because he was a mute who had suffered many hardships, but he could not say what the suffering was. The primordial chaos bell was the treasure of their alliance. They definitely could not sell it. The reason they took it out was to crush Long Fei and the Fengyuan Merchant Union. However, no matter how much someone bid, the people inside would always return the price, but they did not expect Long Fei to raise the price so much. 5,000 fairy stones, a year's income. It was gone just like that. Moreover, the loss of 5,000 fairy stones would definitely cause an impact to the God Emperor City's Dodge Merchant Union. At that time, Yin Huang Ancestor reacted and said, "Kid, how do you know the person who bid is from the Dodge Merchant Union?" Long Fei laughed. "I guessed." Yin Huang Ancestor, what if he doesn't bid and you buy it? What if you can't take out that many fairy stones? Long Fei replied, "I have you. What am I afraid of? At worst I can just sell you, haha." He had never thought of such a thing. The old man wearing a cloak walked onto the stage and crossed paths with the people from the Dodge Merchant Union. At this time, Long Fei saw it very clearly. The primordial chaos bell was taken into the space ring by the cloaked old man. The corner of Long Fei's mouth drew back and said, "Ancestor, plant an aura imprint on his body." Yin Huang Ancestor became excited. "You little rascal, I was going to do that." And then, both of them smiled sinisterly at the same time. Ha! Bam! At this moment, the sound of a strong impact resounded from room number 6 as a disciple rushed to the window. "Grand Elder, the president has fainted." The old man's face darkened, and he hurriedly rushed back. When rushing to Long Fei's side, Long Fei deliberately said, "Playing with yourself, and even making yourself faint, it's really high, too high. That's quite a few stories high, ha." The old man's eyes were about to spew fire with anger. The Dodge Merchant Union, almost half disabled. If there was no surprise, the 5,000 fairy stones would have a strong impact on them, causing the capital chain to break. He had no choice but to leave the God Emperor City. First kill. Long Fei smiled in his heart. Shi Qian's face blossomed into a smile, and immediately said, "The next one is the Heavenly River Merchant Union." Tianhe Merchant Union? Where is he? A few minutes later, sweat trickled down the forehead of the people from the Milky Way Merchant Union. They walked to the arena and said, "This is our heavenly sword, a grade 5 immortal war device." Immortal grade 5? Too weak, right? Is this the great treasure that your Milky Way Merchant Union has launched? You had to say it. The Milky Way Merchant Union wanted to play the same game as the Dodge Merchant Union, but if Long Fei saw through it, then the thousands of fairy stones would be enough to pay for it. You might as well give up on this round of competition. Not only the Tianhe Merchant Union, but the other merchant union had all changed their plans. The Dodge Merchant Union had been tricked to death. Next, Feng Yuan Merchant Union. Long Fei smiled, walked forward, and arrogantly said, "You guys of the Merchant Union are too weak. What kind of rubbish are you guys? It's my turn." Chapter 5. 8_8419/2356974. It's him again. It's him again. It's the Feng Yuan Merchant Union's turn again. I don't know why, but I'm looking forward to it. Me too. The Long Yang pill allowed Chun Tianfei to instantly break through 2 realms and even made a quick breakthrough in his immortal foundation. If the Long Yang pill was powerful, the appearance of the heaven shaking was even more piercing. To be able to convince the artificers of the God Emperor Academy, what kind of power was this? Once again, Long Fei walked onto the stage. The audience quickly quieted down, and even Shi Qian quietly retreated to the side, handing over the entire stage to Long Fei. Zhou Lian suppressed the excitement in his heart and asked himself, "What are you planning to do this time?" Chun Tianfei, Xiao Ying, Man Tuoyuo, and the others were all standing on the windowsill looking at the stage. They, too, wanted to know what Long Fei had refined. Shaking the sky excited him to a complete mess. It made Fu Xishan's eyes fill with tears. These 2 items alone were enough for the Feng Yuan Merchant Union. They would not be pushed out of the auction anymore, and this auction would definitely be able to hold on. However, Long Fei would not give up. Many people were waiting to see the Feng Yuan Merchant Union make a fool of themselves, to see Fu Xishan make a fool of himself, and to see him make a fool of himself. If they did not stomp these people to the ground, then he would not be called Long Fei. Long Fei stood in front of the stage and coughed. The audience immediately quieted down. Long Fei said, "I just said, there's more than one steel monster, but since this young master of the wilderness is my friend, I won't be auctioning it off here. Because he's a friend." Lei looked at Long Fei and was suddenly moved. For his sake, Long Fei actually didn't sell any more steel monster. This also meant that this was the only person who possessed the mighty heaven ability. Lei Zhong thought, "From today onwards, you will be my brother." Next, Long Fei said, "The Feng Yuan Merchant Union does business. If someone likes the steel monster, they can go to the God's Phoenix Pavilion to customize it. As long as the price is high, I believe I can buy it." That's all. As soon as Long Fei finished speaking, he changed the topic. This time, "I brought everyone a set of armor and Tang Dao." Armor? Blade? That's boring, right? That's right. I thought it was something we had never seen before. So it was a battle armor and a blade. There's nothing special about it. Sigh. I'm disappointed. There were quite a few discussions going on below the stage. They had great expectations for the Feng Yuan Merchant Union, wanting to see Long Fei create an even more novel war device. However, they had seen too many armors and blades, so they naturally had no interest. Jean San Yuan coldly laughed. "You are probably at the end of your road. If you can't bring out something new, then you're nothing." As far as he was concerned, the reason why Wei Jintian was able to bid a high price was not because he was powerful, but because of his domineering appearance. It caused people to be shocked when they bid high prices. Armor and Tang Dao? Not at all. The murmurs grew louder. Fu Tianlong immediately laughed. "Shameful. You have completely shamed the Feng Yuan Merchant Union." Seeing the discussions of the crowd, Long Fei was not in a hurry to take out the things, but quietly waited for them to calm down. However, He was wrong. The people in the audience looked at him without saying a word, and the discussion became even more intense. I think you won't be able to take out the steel monster from before, right? Just now, you were boasting so much that it shook the heavens. What are you saying? Now, why don't you take out another one? Exactly. You're just a little clown. The sound of people being crushed by Long Fei rose again. Chen Xiaoshan once again sneered. Murong Fenglei did the same. A trash is a trash. They will never be able to make it onto the stage. You overestimate yourself. Fu Xishan started to worry, seeing that so many people were mocking Long Fei. She wanted to rush down. Chen Tianfei was very unhappy. Damn, if we do not slap their faces, they will become unhappy, right? Xiao Ying fumed. This is too despicable. It's always like this. What's wrong with young Master Long and the others? And that Fu Tianlong, look at his disdainful face. Young Master Long is working for the Fengyuan Merchant Union, but he's acting like this. He's too infuriating. They were unhappy. However, the corner of Long Fei's mouth had a cold smile, and he said, "Have you laughed enough?" As soon as his voice faded, Long Fei looked at Zhou Lian again and said, "Elder, can you do me a favor?" Zhou Lian was extremely interested in Long Fei's mighty heaven, but he was not very interested in Long Fei's armor or Tang Dao. The armor and the blade were his strong points. No matter how powerful he wasn't as powerful as the old man. Zhou Lian smiled faintly, walked up the stage and smiled. "You aren't going to borrow another fairy stones from me this time, are you?" Long Fei laughed. "This time it won't be." At this time, the audience slowly quieted down and looked at Long Fei and Zhou Lian who were on stage. Long Fei's eyes swept across them and looked at the disdainful and mocking faces, then said incomparably arrogantly, "Open your dog eyes wide and see clearly. I'll let you all know what a battle armor is." "What do you mean, Tang Dao?" As soon as he finished, Long Fei took out a full body armor from the Space Ring S. The surface of the armor did not look much different from normal armor. Long Fei looked at Zhou Lian and said, "Clan Elder, can I trouble you to wear it?" Zhou Lian looked at this armor that did not have any fluctuation in aura. Although he was unwilling, he still followed suit. However, when he wanted to wear this piece of armor, he found that he did not know where to put it. It was a bit awkward. He looked for a new way to get in, but still couldn't find a way. Long Fei said, "Elder, the idea's armor will automatically activate." Zhou Lian's heart trembled and thought to himself, another war device with self-sufficient self-awareness? He couldn't wait. The idea moved, and just as Long Fei had said, it was linked to the armor instantly. Crack, bang, bang, kacha bang. A series of metal clashing sounds came out. The armor itself activated. Zhou Yin's idea moved once again. Bang. Her knee guards, shoulder caps, and helmets started to merge with Zhou Yin's body one by one, directly covering his entire body and turning him into a robot. However, it's much stronger than a robot, because the armor was soft. Zhou Yin was excited. "Good fellow." Long Fei then said, "Clan Elder, the idea has connected successfully, releasing your cultivation." Zhou Yin's blood was boiling. He had never seen this kind of war device before. He followed Long Fei's instructions. The idea sank and released his cultivation. Buzz. The armor seemed to have been activated, giving birth to a new life. The flowing light in his body was boiling. Every part of him was flowing with powerful energy, and the person who truly felt powerful was Zhou Yin. He was completely dumbstruck. This. Oh my God. Long Fei took out Tang Dao and threw it to Zhou Yin. His body naturally reacted as he took Tang Dao. In an instant, Tang Dao was also activated as the slender body of the blade glowed with a dazzling light. 36 search. Half floating / / equals light war device. Zhou Yin was extremely excited and asked, "What is this? What is this armor called? No matter how much it costs, I'll buy it all." The corner of Long Fei's mouth drew back as he smiled lightly and said, "Alloy armor. Destroy." Chapter 6, add a chapter. Thank you all for your monthly tickets. 8_8419/2356975. Alloy armor destroy. Alloy armor destroy. The entire audience was in an uproar because they had no idea what Long Fei meant by alloy armor, but they could clearly see what Zhou Yin was wearing. How cool. It was an incomparably cool scene. The awe-inspiring move just now was overbearing and fierce, and this set of alloy armor S was dazzling and cool. So cool that it looked like dregs falling from the sky. Not even that. Long Fei smiled slightly and said, "Elder, you could try out a few moves at random, and if they really aren't effective, you can just casually compare them to give you a different experience." Zhou Yin immediately moved. Wong, swish, Wong, swish. Every move and movement had a strong sound effect. Moreover, the Tang Dao in his hand was bursting with a cool stream of light. Following the movement of his moves, Tang Zheng's blade descended with a long fiery red tail as his movements sped up. His entire body was covered in this kind of dazzling tail flame, appearing extremely handsome. This was just a visual impact. Only Zhou Yin knew how strong this set of armor was. The stronger the power, the more powerful the armor would be. It was as if they knew what he was thinking. Excited, an indescribable excitement. This set of ordinary-looking armor had the effect of overturning the heavens and overturning the earth. In his entire life of artifact forging, today was the first time he had seen such an eye-opener. His heart was shocked at the mighty appearance of Jintian. But the appearance of this set of alloy armor touched the deepest part of his heart. The idea moved. The alloy armor automatically fell off his body. His eyes were extremely excited as he walked in front of Long Fei and said, "Name your price. I will give you anything you want. Can you sell this armor to me?" Long Fei laughed faintly. "Clan Elder, this is an auction. We have to follow the rules. I want to give you a set, but after all, these things belong to the Fengyuan Merchant Union, so I can't make the decision on it." Zhou Yin's face tightened as he gently caressed that set of alloy armor, reluctant to part with it. At this moment, Long Fei's eyes swept across them, and looking at those people who had mocked him earlier, he directly called out, "Fu Tianlong, smile again for this daddy. Why aren't you laughing now?" Fu Tianlong's face ashened, and he was unable to say a single word. Long Fei looked at the merchant union in the private rooms and coldly said, "So what if you declare war on your 9 business union? If you have the ability, come down and mess with me." Arrogant. Arrogant. He wanted to crush 9 business union to the ground and make him unable to get up. He wanted to push the Fengyuan Merchant Union to its peak. Long Fei shouted out, "The auction begins." Without another word, Lei Zhong immediately shouted, 10,000 fairy stones. He possessed a might that shook the heavens. If he also had such a set of alloy armor, that would be too cool. The entire God Emperor city had been charmed out by him alone. 20,000 fairy stones. At this moment, a man in the second row stood up. Zhou Yin hesitated for a moment before standing up as well and said, "I bid 30,000 fairy stones in addition. I will also add an ancient Xian weapon, the Great Desolation War Axe." As soon as he finished, everyone was overwhelmed with shock. Even the elders of the other God Emperor Academy looked at Zhou Yin in disbelief. "Elder Zhou, 30,000 fairy stones, and that ancient profound weapon. That is your favorite thing, you—" At this time, Zhou Yin stood up, bowed to the people behind him, and said, "Please give me some face Zhou Yin. Give me this alloy armor. I'll be counting on everyone." Bow 90 degrees. The entire audience was shocked. Is he an elder of the God Emperor Academy? For something like this, how powerful was this thing? At this moment, everyone's heart was boiling. They were all thinking that thing was too powerful. This set of alloy armor was extremely powerful. The Fengyuan Merchant Union. Awesome. Long Fei was equally shocked by Zhou Yin. Forget about the 30,000 fairy stones just the ancient profound weapon, Great Desolation War Axe, was already an incredible feat, yet he actually took it out without any hesitation. He really had the courage. Of course, no one knew what he experienced when he wore the alloy armor. Only he knew. The entire audience quietened down. Since the people from God Emperor Academy were already like this, who would be willing to fight with him for it? The young lord of the wilderness smiled and said, "I give up." The man also said, "I give up." Zhou Yin said, "Thank you, thank you." Turning around, he looked at Long Fei. Long Fei said, "Since no one bid, then this item will be auctioned off by you." Zhou Yin immediately became excited and walked up the stage, saying, "I don't have that many fairy stones on me right now. I only have 10,000 here. I do not bring the great desolate war axe with me either." He was afraid that Long Fei would not agree, and said, "But don't worry. I, Zhou Yin, will definitely keep my promise. I will send the thing over to you right after I return." Everyone here can testify. Long Fei said, "I believe you." Toward the fanatic smith, Long Fei would definitely not lie to him if he could see the love in Zhou Yin's eyes. After handing in the 10,000 fairy stones Zhou Yin looked extremely excited. If this was not the auction venue, he would immediately put on the clothes and do what he wanted. Zhou Yin kept the alloy armor and tanked Dao into the space ring, and while holding Long Fei's hand, he excitedly said, "Thank you. Thank you for letting me see what a refining technique is and what a breakthrough in thinking is. I have been stuck at the limitation of my thinking for an entire 10 years, and it was you who had allowed me to see a different refining technique. Thank you. If it's possible, I want to take the refining saint of the Fengyuan Merchant Union as my master. Is that possible?" Zhou Yin's eyes were full of begging. He really wanted it. Long Fei said, "About this, I will tell that lord. As for whether he is willing or not, I don't know either." Zhou Yin said, "Thank you, thank you." Long Fei muttered in his heart, "Zhen Tian's considered the weakest amongst my steel monster." The alloy armor was not bad, though. But, compared to Origin Plan, Lin is just a grade lower. If I were to take out all of these things, Long Fei's heart sank. Get rid of this idea immediately. It might cause chaos. Long Fei had not stopped the entire night yesterday. 3 sets of steel monster and 2 sets of armor. In addition, other than the alloy armor cooperating with Tang Dao, there was also the demon sword that turned the room into ruins. Then there was the tyrant's blade that was refined by the Yan Huang ancestor. If these items were all taken out, the auction would definitely be in chaos. As Zhou Yin walked off the stage, his gaze swept across the crowd. He said lightly, "If there are people who still like this kind of alloy armor, welcome to the Fengyuan Merchant Union for their orders. The price. We'll collect them according to the standard of 50,000 fairy stones. Remember, it's the Fengyuan Merchant Union. Also, we welcome you to customize the heaven-shocking steel monster." Long Fei walked off the stage with a smile on his face. He was the only one who handsomed the whole auction. 9 business union. He had been completely crushed. However, and this was not the end. Chapter 1 to make it clear, the C said yesterday morning that there would be 5 chapters in the afternoon, but there were still 5 chapters, so there was no need to confuse them. To suddenly become a swindler for no reason. I am also extremely drunk. 8_8419/2356976. Cultivation resources were indispensable. Cultivation resources were indispensable. Fairy stones were extremely important. It was important to other warriors, but it was also important to Long Fei. He needed these fairy stones to let the patriarch nurture the ghost soldiers in the Yellow Springs summoning seal. They were all a pack of hungry wolves, and once they grew, they would release an unstoppable force. Was a ghost scary? Terrifying. How terrifying were those 1,000 ghosts? How terrifying was it that 1,000 ghosts possessed such high power? It was hard to imagine. Long Fei also needed fairy stones. It could be said that no one needed fairy stones more than him. Thus, if he wanted to do the business, he would need to use a large number of fairy stones to nurture the ghost soldiers and the Yan Huang ancestor. Compared to the South Horizon region, The Yin Huang ancestor was far stronger. However, this was not enough. He was only a remnant soul, only a bit larger than before. Long Fei walked into the private room. Just like when an emperor returned, the way Chan Tianfei and the others looked at him was completely different. Fu Xishan looked at Long Fei and muttered, "You really changed, really changed, really changed. You have become far more powerful, and I didn't believe you at the beginning, but now." After more than 3 years, they had not seen each other for nearly 4 years. Fu Xishan did not know what had happened to Long Fei. She thought that Long Fei had pursued the highest level of martial arts training. So she thought that Long Fei's artifact forging alchemy was only at the realm of the South Horizon region. From the looks of it, she was wrong, completely wrong. The big boy in front of him had grown up. It was already possible. Thinking about it, Fu Xishan's cheeks flushed red. Long Fei said, "Sis, I haven't changed, I'm still that Long Fei." Xiao Ying giggled and said, "Young Master Long, you're really too handsome, the kind of handsome that falls victim to dregs." Chen Tianfei also said, "He's just weaker than me." Xiao Ying stared at Chen Tianfei and said, "Fatty, can you not insult the idol in my heart? Do you believe that I won't send you flying with a single punch?" Ha ha! A wave of joyous laughter sounded out in the room. The third round still had some time before it began. Long Fei was not in a hurry. Long Fei said to Fu Xishan, "Sis, following the explosion of Wei Jintian and the alloy armor, the price of the ores in God Emperor City will multiply by several times." Fu Xishan gave a shallow smile and said, "Don't worry, I've already arranged for people to come. Your sister has some brains." Finished. Fu Xishan squeezed Long Fei until he was almost in Long Fei's lap. His eyes flashed with a charming and moving gaze, and said, "You help Big Sister so much. Is Big Sister going to treat you like this? Speak. What do you want from Elder Sister?" After he finished speaking, Fu Xishan looked at Long Fei lovingly. It was extremely burning, and she didn't hide anything from him, as she emphasized, "You can have anything you want from me." Her breasts pushed forward. Very strong. It was very big, very tall, and very cruel. Long Fei was a little unable to hold it in. His Adam's apple tumbled, and he immediately shifted his gaze, saying, "Sis, you're giving it to me to eat? Live with me, and even help me solve the danger. In Fireglass City, I just wanted to think about how you saved my grandfather, but at that time you left." Fu Xishan did not give him a chance to continue, and said, "Do you not want Sister to say anything? That look, that seductive action." He was about to die. Long Fei's heart was like a volcano erupting, and the mature charm that exuded from his body was completely different from Man Toalyuo's. Man Toalyuo was a domineering Onizen. However, Fu Xishan, on the other hand, was like a hot sister. Long Fei forced himself to calm down and said, "You're my sister. I won't help you with anything. What I don't need anything. I just want to help you step down those people who want to watch you make fun of them, and help you push the Fengyuan Merchant Union to a new peak. That's what I want." He spoke with an awe-inspiring righteousness and a face full of righteousness. There was no evil at all. Of course, this was all an act by Long Fei. In a private room with so many people, he couldn't possibly do something that a child wouldn't, right? Fu Xishan stared blankly for a moment, laughed evilly, pushed Long Fei's forehead lightly with his finger, and said, "Brat, consider yourself to have passed. Don't panic." And then, with a flick of her body, she walked to Man Toalyuo's side, giggled, and said, "I say, he can resist any sort of enticement, so you don't need to worry." Man Toalyuo pursed his lips and smiled. Long Fei was startled. "Are you testing me?" However, he secretly wiped away his sweat and muttered, "Luckily I managed to control it, otherwise I really am going to be tricked to death by them. However, I have to get rid of the aphrodisiac immortal root poison on Man Toalyuo's body. Otherwise, it would be hard for him to break through." Long Fei also knew what the gap in Man Toalyuo's heart was. Chen Tianfei leaned at the side, looking like an injured little fatty as he silently squatted in the corner. With tears and snot flowing down his face, he muttered, "A person as handsome as I is someone no one loves. Yet he, An unhandsome person has so many women. Heavens, can't you be a little more fair? Not waiting for him to finish. Shouting punch down. This will be fair. Ha, ha, ha. In another place. How are your people doing? Murong Tian asked in a low voice. Don't worry, room 14, room 12 are all my men. This time, even if they flap their wings, they won't be able to escape. The black shark coldly laughed. He was excited about the alloy armors auction just now. 10,000 fairy stones. Adding the 3,000 fairy stones from the auction was enough. I've never seen such a business in my life. However, he was not satisfied, because there was still the final round of the auction, and the Fengyuan Merchant Union definitely had more good things to sell. He would have to wait until the final moment. If he wanted to earn something, he had to make big. Murong Tian slightly said, I don't need the thing, but people must die for me. The corner of Hazer's mouth hooked up into a cold smile, and he said, Young Master Tian, how did that Long Fei guy offend you in the end? You want him to die? Murong Tian said, It's simple, I just do not like people. The person that makes me, Murong Tian, feel bad. No matter who it is, they will all die. Hazer was slightly surprised for a moment before he laughed. Young Master Tian, don't tell me that you are unhappy with me. Murong Tian stared at Black Shark. Hazer immediately laughed. I was just joking, don't mind me. Don't worry, I will chop off his head for you. How can I let you down when you give me such a big gift? Hazer laughed sinisterly. This time, he would definitely be able to earn a lot of money in one fell swoop. Furthermore, he had made sufficient preparations. In Box 1, a disciple reported the situation. The two elders said lightly, There's no rush. The shark appears and takes action. Strongest upgrade system. However, the young lord probably doesn't need us to do anything. Even I want his 2 items. The young master's life is more important. We can't take this risk. I was only joking. Do you really think that I would take young master's life as a joke? Chapter 28_8419/2356977. The undercurrents surged more and more violently. The undercurrents surged more and more violently. The key point was, Long Fei didn't know anything. He never thought that the Black Shark faction would appear at the auction site. He never thought that Murong Tian would actually bite onto him like a mad dog and kill him no matter what. He had always been thinking about the Fengyuan Merchant Union. He wanted to crush the other 9 business union. As for everything else, he didn't think too much about it. However, although Long Fei did not think about all these, he was not afraid of anything. Just a few big guys from his space ring could withstand everything. Shi Qian walked onto the stage and said, The 3rd round of the Special Spirit Treasure Auction is about to begin. There are no restrictions, regardless of the War Device S, Immortal Roots, or War Pet S. You can proceed with the auction. Let's begin. While they were talking, a staff member walked up and said, This is an unidentified magic equipment provided by the Thunderbolt Merchant Union. Its properties are unknown and the materials are unknown. However, it was found in the buried temple of King Buddha. The starting price is 100 fairy stones, and every bid cannot be lower than 10. As soon as his voice faded, there was no reaction from below the stage. The Buddha had appeared before, but now it had already disappeared, just like the Dragon Domain. However, outside of the Sky Martial Continent, there were also Buddha world existences. Yin Huang Ancestor said, Buy it. Long Fei walked on the windowsill and called out, 11 pills, no more. He asked in his heart, Ancestor, what is this called? Yin Huang Ancestor said, Haha, this was a demonic Buddha war device. Its power was mediocre, but it has a special function. What function? Long Fei immediately asked. Yin Huang Ancestor asked, Do you know the function of the coffin nail? Long Fei shook his head. He was a little puzzled and said, Just say it directly. The Yin Huang Ancestor said, It can defend against the fusing of the immortal foundation of a martial artist and will not let you use the power of the immortal foundation. In addition, it has another alias, The Immortal Foundation Spear. Long Fei was stunned. Damn, this is the best thing I have. Seeing Long Fei's bid, Lei Zhong immediately stood up and said, My brother wants to buy it. Please give me face. If anyone doesn't give me face, I won't give him any face. He was rich. The young lord of the wilderness was a barbarian. He would treat whoever was good to him. When the young master of the wilderness said this, those who wanted to fight immediately turned cold. 110. 11 times. Deal. Long Fei smiled faintly as his heart blossomed with joy. The spear of the Immortal Foundation, the president of the Thunder Merchant Union, was bitter. Just taking this thing out of the underground devil temple would cost him no less than 200 fairy stones. However, right now, he had only won 110 of them, which was a huge loss. This was also because he had no other choice. He looked for countless appraisers, but none of them were able to appraise the properties of this nail-like item. And then, the second item, Diamond Bracer, starting bid, 15 fairy stones. Begin the auction. Long Fei looked at the wrist guard on the stage and muttered, Isn't this made specifically for Yuan Ba? 18 fairy stones. He instantly called out a price. Lei Zhong stood up again and said, My brother wants to buy it. Please give him some face. He crushed him again. Long Fei bought another one and said to Lei Zhong, Brother, thank you. Lei Zhong said, You're welcome. Next, constant auctions were taking place. One could not help but admit that special treasures were being auctioned in a variety of strange and varied ways. It is also the most diverse. The goods were getting better and better, and the price was getting higher and higher. Other than the first 2 times, Long Fei did not attack again. The 13th item. This is a meteorite from outer space. It contains the nature's attribute. Although it is only the size of a fist, it has the weight of 100,000 jin. Shi Qian looked at Zhou Lian and said, Master, can you do me a small favor? The reason why Zhou Lian had appeared at the auction venue was because of this meteorite. However, with the alloy armor, he no longer cared about the meteorites anymore. Walking to the stage, he felt around and said, The weight is not less than 100,000 jin, and the power contained inside the meteorite is also very chaotic. This kind of power does not belong to Sky Martial Continent. He glanced at Shi Qian and did not continue, because the energy contained within this meteorite was too chaotic, and even a master refiner would be unable to control it. The crucial point was that there was a very special energy within the meteorite that was faintly discernible. It was extremely strange. He did not say this out loud. Kid, Long Fei leaned on the chair. Because he was too tired, he fell asleep. Being called out by the Yin Huang ancestor, he reacted as if he was electrocuted and said, What's wrong? What happened? Yin Huang ancestor said, By that meteorite. Long Fei rubbed his eyes and walked out of the window. Looking at the meteorite on the stage, his gaze suddenly sank. The meteorite was emitting this yellow light. Obviously, it was a quest item. Long Fei immediately called out a price. This time, there were a few people who wanted to bargain with Long Fei, but the thing Long Fei wanted would not let him go, 800 fairy stones. At this moment, Zhou Yin sent out an idea and said, This meteorite is unable to be refined. The energy inside is too chaotic. Don't be tricked. Long Fei replied, Thank you, but the price had already been announced, and Long Fei had to obtain this meteorite. Congratulations to the Feng Yuan Merchant Union. Long Fei handed over the money and looked at the meteorite within the space ring, his eyes trembling. Damn! He's finally appeared. F*CK. It's been 3 whole years, and now there's finally a clue. Long Fei's heart was moved. Item: Heart of Dragon Domain Attribute. Description: Dragon Territories Core. Description 2. You need to unravel the secrets within. Description 3. The secrets of the Dragon Domain are hidden within. Looking for the Dragon Domain. SSS level mission, 10 years of time. It has already been 4 years. These 4 years, I don't even have a clue now. Long Fei was incomparably excited in his heart. This sort of excitement followed the appearance of the Azure Dragon Ancestor. With the evolution of the Dark Ancestor, he was becoming more and more curious as to what secrets the Dragon Domain was hiding. What in the world? What exactly was the relationship between the dragon race and Long family that had disappeared by several million? In here, where exactly did his father, Long Zhanting, go? Everything was a mystery. He wanted to unravel it, and he couldn't wait to do so. Now, he finally found a quest item for the Dragon Domain. As long as he could unravel it, he would be able to find the location of the Dragon Domain. Once he found the Dragon Domain, he would be able to solve all the mysteries within. Floating life. Table of contents, no windows. A ++ Azure Dragon Ancestor. Patriarch Darkness. At this moment, they were all trembling. Long Fei suppressed the excitement in his heart and asked, Ancestor, do you have any way to remove it? Chapter 38_8419/2356978. Explanation? Release it? Explanation? Release it? Yin Huang Ancestor was stumped by Long Fei. He could only feel a very powerful energy coming from this meteor. He had no idea what this meteor was. I don't know. I'll try. The Yin Huang Ancestor's idea slightly moved, wanted to actually move inside the meteorite, but in that instant, buzz! Yin Huang Ancestor's idea was directly sent flying. I'll go. What a powerful strength. Yin Huang Ancestor was a little surprised. Following that, the idea surged again, and this time, the strength of his idea increased. Buzz! Boom! This time, his counterforce was even stronger, causing the Yin Huang Ancestor to be unable to endure it. Good heavens, even my idea's power can't move an inch. There must be something very powerful inside. Don't talk nonsense. Long Fei became agitated. He was very clear what kind of heart of Dragon Domain this meteorite was. He just wanted to unravel it now. It was like a diamond-shaped box. What he wanted was not the power within, but the secrets hidden within, the secrets related to the Dragon Domain. Yin Huang Ancestor seriously replied, No, F***CK. Because the Yin Huang Ancestor had a way, Long Fei was unwilling. There's no way at all? Yin Huang Ancestor replied, I have never seen this either. Do you think I should remove it? Is it a box? I don't even know how to use mechanisms. How am I supposed to undo it? Long Fei immediately asked, Mechanical arts? In the Sky Martial Continent, who knew about mechanical arts? There is no such thing as mechanical skill in the system's gift pack, so Long Fei did not cultivate it either. The Yin Huang Ancestor replied, I am not too sure about that. There are very few people who practice mechanical arts, and it is rare even in the Chaos realm. I think it is even rarer here. However, boy, everything is certain. Since this thing is in your hands, there will naturally be a day where it will be undone. Don't worry too much. Long Fei laughed bitterly, determined. I don't believe in fate. I don't believe in the heavens. I only believe in myself. He did not believe in fixed numbers at all. He had promised Long Quangtian in the underworld that he would find the secret behind the disappearance of the Long family's experts. The appearance of the green dragon tripod gave him a feeling that the Long family and the dragon race were inextricably linked. Perhaps they would be able to find the secret behind the disappearance of the Long family rankers if they could find the Dragon Domain and the dragon race. This was just a guess. Now we have a clue. Heart of Dragon Domain. How can I unravel it? Even the Yin Huang Ancestor couldn't do anything about it, but Long Fei didn't have any clues right now. His heart was moved. If the green dragon tripod was untied by my blood essence before, then would it be the same with my heart of Dragon Domain? Immediately. Long Fei didn't even think as he dripped a drop of his blood essence onto it. Buzz! The heart of Dragon Domain absorbed the blood essence. At this moment, amongst the green dragon tripod, the Azure Dragon Ancestor stared fixedly at the heart of Dragon Domain. The same went for the Dark Dragon Goddess. They stared at the heart of Dragon Domain without moving, their expressions even more anxious than Long Fei. Suddenly, The meteorite began to tremble. After flashing out a light that was as thin as an ant's rune, a crisp sound rang out. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for unlocking the first layer of Heart of Dragon Domain, obtaining Turn Yin Long into God. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 100 experience points for cultivating Turn Yin Long into God. The number of power of Celestial is 100. The reward is 100 points. Skill path: Turn Yin Long into God grade. Dragon Domain God level consumption. 1 million power of Celestial. Currently, players cannot use it. Power of Celestial is insufficient. Description: able to instantly transform into the Flame Dragon Ancestor. Crack! Long Fei clenched both his fists tightly and read the description of the only cultivation technique. Transformation into the Flame Dragon Ancestor? Oh my god! This is so King insane. That's not right. The Azure Dragon Ancestor called me boss and said that I was a Yuan Long. The Yuan Long is a flame dragon? Or did I hear wrong? Long Fei thought about what the Azure Dragon Ancestor had said to him. You are a Yuan Long right now. He could not really tell if he was a Yuan Long or a flame dragon. However, he couldn't care less. With this Turn Yin Long into God, he would immediately transform into the Flame Dragon Ancestor. Long Fei looked at the condition to release this move. 1 million power of Celestial. Are you taking my life? His current power of Celestial value was only slightly over 30,000. A million power of Celestial S was just too much. Big bro has plenty of time. Wait for me to bring level increase up. 1 million power of Celestial. It's nothing. Long Fei smiled faintly in his heart. When he thought about the scene of him turning into the Flame Dragon Ancestor, he couldn't help but become excited. At this moment, Long Fei once again checked the attributes of the Heart of Dragon Domain. Item: Heart of Dragon Domain attribute. Grade: Description: the first level of the Heart of Dragon Domain has been unlocked. It has a total of 3 levels. Description 2: the S are required to unlock the second layer. Blood of the Sea Dragon King? Holy *T. Where can I get it? Long Fei used his own blood essence to unravel the first layer, but there were still 2 floors left to unravel the Heart of Dragon Domain. Dragon King of the Deep Sea. Where to find it? If you want to find the Dragon King of the Deep Sea, you should enter the God Emperor Academy first. The God Emperor Academy has all kinds of mysterious information about the Sky Martial Continent. It contains everything. Maybe I can find some information on the Dragon King of the Deep Sea. God Emperor Academy had 1,000,000 years of history. There were a total of 18 books in the Compendium Pavilion alone, and all of the important matters in the Tianwu continent were recorded. Long Fei thought of the 4 great desolate mountains where ice and fire resided and thought to himself, I guess I can only find the information about the Dragon King of the Deep Sea before making the plans. In the past, Long Fei was completely baffled by the Dragon Domain mission and did not have any leads. It was different now. He had finally found the clue. As long as he could unravel the Heart of Dragon Domain, he would definitely be able to find the Dragon Domain. Once he found the Dragon Domain, the Azure Dragon Ancestor would speak of everything. In that case, Dragon Race. Then the secret of the Long family would be solved. Suddenly, Long Fei became excited. Secretly clenching his fists, he said, God Emperor Academy. You must enter. Just as Long Fei was thinking about the Heart of Dragon Domain, the auction started to turn slightly different. All the people in charge of 9 Business Union walked onto the stage. The entire venue was moved. What's going on? What's the situation? What do they want to do? No one understood what the people of the 9 Business Union were trying to do. /float life. It was also at this time. Jean Sanyuan took a step forward. People of the Feng Yuan Merchant Union, get out right now. Fu Shishan walked to the window and glanced at the 9 people on stage. His brows tightened as he said, Jean Sanyuan, pay attention when you speak. Jean Sanyuan simply did not care about Fu Shishan's words. With a flick of his finger, he pointed at room 13 and said, Tell that trash from the Southern Domain to come down. Chapter 48_8419/2356979. F***CK. F***CK. Chun Tianfei cursed. He rushed to the window and cursed. You F***king want to die, right? Jean Sanyuan sneered and said, abandoned son of the Chun family. You don't even have the qualifications to speak to me. Chun Tianfei's violent temper rose all of a sudden. Bam! He jumped down from the windowsill and said angrily, you don't have the qualifications? I will let you know what qualifications are. Nothing. Right now, the only thing he wanted to do was to trample Jean Sanyuan to death. However, before he could get close to the auction stage, an old man blocked his way. Without saying a word, Chun Tianfei immediately scolded, Scram! The old man's eyes were filled with anger. His palms moved, directly striking towards Chun Tianfei with extremely dense power. He struck out with his palm. Violent immortal energy surged out. Buzz! It heavily smashed onto Chun Tianfei's chest. Chun Tianfei's feet sank, and his feet rooted to the ground. He heavily struck where he stood, and the holy armor fairy vein in his body released a strand of energy. Boom! The power of the immortal foundation protected his entire body. Rumble! With his palm falling, Chun Tianfei was forced 10 steps back. His expression did not change at all. He patted his chest and laughed disdainfully. Arrogant, immortal state? It's only SOSO. He was extremely arrogant. The old man's face sank, as if he was being humiliated. His rage soared as he said in a low voice, then take another palm from me. At this moment, boom! Long Fei dropped down heavily and stood between Chun Tianfei and the old man. Looking at the old man's figure that seemed to become a mirage, the power in his palms formed waves of gales. Long Fei's eyes narrowed and shouted, if you touch him again, I'll make you lie down here. Arrogant. The old man snorted and said, you don't have the right to be arrogant here. You're just trash from the South Horizon region. Finished. The elder pushed out his palms. It was at this moment, a person suddenly stood on the windowsill of private room number 1. In another place, Lei Zhong shouted, if you dare to touch my brother, then knock him down. On the roof of the auction house, the veiled girl's face sank as she whispered, don't let him hurt you. Beside her, a wave of ripples gently twisted and then disappeared. The corner of Long Fei's eyes narrowed, and his right hand clenched. Ba attack! Buzz! When the Overlord blade that was refined by the Yin Huang ancestor landed in Long Fei's hands, he shouted in his heart, 4th level, peerless, gravity knife, the great perfection stage. The top of the Overlord blade began to burn up, and the dense gravitational flame started to burn up crazily. The old man smirked. Even you, a waste in the immortal realm, dare to block me? You're courting death. Chun Tianfei shouted loudly, boss, move out of the way. Fu Shishan shouted, Uncle Feng, kill him. Man, Tuoyuo's heart tensed up. Young Master Long, be careful. When the old man was still half a step away from Long Fei. Boom, boom, boom. The old man's body suddenly sank. 3 incomparably strong, pressuring powers rushed into his mind, crushing all the powers in his body. It was instantly destroyed. His mind was shattered. His sea of consciousness had collapsed. His entire person knelt in front of Long Fei. Suddenly. Too sudden. However, but Long Fei did not care about all this. From the moment the old man said that he was a trash from the southern domain, he had already entered the list of deaths in his mind. 1 slash, gravity slash, dime. The Overlord blade moved, raised it into the air, and slashed down. Jean Sanyuan shouted loudly, Brat, you dare. Long Fei did not even bother to look at him, as he slashed his blade downwards. Crack! The head flew into the air, blood spurted out all over, spraying all over Long Fei's body. His face was drenched in blood. His gaze was locked on a Jean Sanyuan who was on the stage and laughed sinisterly. There is nothing that I do not dare to do. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Protector of the Family Gene Union for obtaining 100 experience points, 400 power of celestial, and 100 energy values. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Fairy Stones S. 9. Ding! System notification. Experience points completed. System notification. Please fuse with a level 1 immortal root. Otherwise, you will not be able to level up. System notification. Please fuse with a level 1 immortal root. Otherwise, you will not be able to level up. The system sounded out continuously. His experience bar had already risen to 100%, but Long Fei still did not have a blend of Fairy Vein up until now, so he could not level up all of them. He had an Immortal Foundation, level 1 Immortal Root S. There were all kinds of second-level Fairy Route S, but he had not merged. Once the Immortal Foundation was fused, it could not be changed. The first Immortal Foundation, in particular, had to be careful. Even though Long Fei had fused with a 9-grade Immortal Root, God's Soul Herb, the first Immortal Foundation was very important, and he was still hesitating. Now, his experience had been filled. How should I choose? Huff! Long Fei exhaled a breath of relief in his heart. Looking at the Space Ring S Immortal Roots, he still had not fused them yet. The Sword Immortal Roots are not suitable, and the Iron Fist Immortal Roots are not suitable either. I need my own Immortal Foundation. He gave up. Jin Sanyuan was incomparable berserk. He roared out, "Brat, you're too presumptuous." It happened so fast that many people didn't even have the time to react. Other than the 3 who released their pressure, they were very clear about what had happened. 3 domineering auras. That man could not even move, and only with this did Long Fei be able to kill him in one hit. Long Fei thought that it was the Uncle Feng, who had never appeared by Fu Shishan's side, so he did not think too much about it. The corner of Long Fei's mouth rose and lightly smiled. "I'm just so impudent, you can bite me?" Jin Sanyuan was so angry that smoke rose from his head. Everything he had bet on this auction, but all of them were disrupted by Long Fei. The anger in his heart was like a volcano erupting. Now, he was even able to kill his protector in front of him. How could he endure this? Several members of the Merchant Union stopped Jin Sanyuan. "Elder Jin, don't forget our purpose in coming here." "Exactly. We are merchants, not barbarians. We're going to use our methods to make him unable to get up. Let's put out the fire first, then deal with him." In the third round, the 9 Business Union was already discussing in secret. This auction would not end just like that. Then their 9 Business Union would really be trampled under the feet of the Fengyuan Merchant Union. How were they supposed to survive in the God Emperor City in the future? Jin Sanyuan suppressed his anger, pointed at Long Fei, and grinded his teeth. "Kid, do you dare to have honor? Glory?" Long Fei didn't know what they wanted to do. Jin Sanyuan sneered. "Didn't you declare war on our 9 Business Union? Then, do you dare to ask if I dare to bet all of my glory?" Fu Shishan frowned slightly. She knew what glory meant. It was everything to the Fengyuan Merchant Union in God Emperor City. Sister-in-law, 1-/+ health, strongest upgrade system. Jin Sanyuan sneered again. "Do you dare? If you do not dare, scram out of God Emperor City." It was also at this time. Fu Shishan gave a heavy shout and said strongly, "Why would I not dare? Bet." Chapter 5. Thank you for your support. 8_8419/2356980. Everyone was shocked by the boldness of a woman. Everyone was shocked by the boldness of a woman. Fu Shishan thought about it simply. If not for Long Fei, the Fengyuan Merchant Union would not have the face to meet people. After today, the God Emperor City would no longer be able to see the Fengyuan Merchant Union. Long Fei gave the Fengyuan Merchant Union life. Long Fei had shouldered everything, and the Fengyuan Merchant Union belonged to him. Then again, Fu Shishan could not see anyone bullying Long Fei, so she did not hesitate at all. Long Fei looked up at Fu Shishan. Fu Shishan said, "Don't be afraid. Big Sis believes in you." Long Fei laughed. This is crazy. At this moment, as if worried that Fu Shishan would go back on his word, Jin Sanyuan immediately replied, "All right, you said it yourself. No one is forcing you. You should be very clear about this, right?" Fu Shishan said, "Jin Sanyuan, no matter how you wish to gamble, I will accompany you whatever you want to gamble. Even if it's a life wager, I will also accompany you." There was no trace of fear. His strong courage did not lose to any man. At this moment, the entire stands were in an uproar. Gambling with all the glory? This is betting on God Emperor City's market share. Are you crazy? If the Fengyuan Merchant Union loses, then they must completely evacuate the God Emperor City tomorrow. They must not have any reason to stay. Isn't this way too much? Moreover, that little rascal has used up all the good stuff. What else could he possibly bet to win against the Merchant Union? Yeah, I don't get it. At this moment, Fu Tianlong suddenly stood up and shouted, "Fu Shishan, you are not qualified to be the judge of this matter. As one of the persons in charge of the Fengyuan Merchant Union, I will definitely not allow you to do so. Anything else, only this would not do, because once he lost, he would have nothing left. He had to leave the God Emperor City. Then everything he had done would have been in vain. This was not the result he wanted. He only wanted to push Fu Shishan out of the God Emperor City, but now things were already under his control. If Long Fei lost, he would also lose everything. Fu Shishan snorted coldly and said, "Fu Tianlong, you still know that you're an elder of the Fengyuan Merchant Union. Didn't you just mock Long Fei for laughing very happily? Why didn't you say you were an elder of the Fengyuan Merchant Union then? Now stand out and say all this? You're really funny." Fu Shishan was extremely disgusted with Fu Tianlong and the other two. Ever since she came to the God Emperor City, they had made things difficult for her. And this time, the auction had become even more intense, forcing her to the point that she had no choice but to leave. She was furious. Fu Tianlong frowned and shouted, "I just do not agree." Fu Shishan sneered and said, "What are you agreeing to do has nothing to do with me. I am in charge of this auction. Do you agree to be more important?" Fu Tianlong, don't think that I do not know about what you have done. I'm just too lazy to tell you. Fu Tianlong's eyes were filled with anger, as though old flame was about to stand up. Jin Sanyuan smiled slightly. "Elder Tianlong, as long as you are willing to come to my family Jin Union, I will keep the seat of elder for you." Ha ha ha. No one can stop this bet today. Jin Sanyuan looked at the Long Fei who was slowly walking up the stage, and the corner of his mouth hooked up as he sneered sinisterly. "I must stomp this trash from the South Horizon region down. This is the immortal domain. It's not the southern domain of the piece of trash that you're sitting in." The words South Horizon region were particularly heavy. In the immortal domain, South Horizon region, the two words are considered trash. This concept had been deeply rooted in the hearts of the people of immortal domain since the year of the Long family's calamity. Millions of years. The South Horizon region was a place where there was no way to eradicate trash. Listening to this, Long Fei was truly in a bad mood. His fury was raging, and the name Jin Sanyuan on the death list directly shot to first place. He had to die. Killing might not change anything, but it was the fastest way to change things. Long Fei walked onto the stage and smiled while looking at Jin Sanyuan. "How do you want to bet?" 9 Business Union, the 9 great leaders of Sky Marshall Continent. They had countless of money and controlled the economic life veins of the Sky Marshall Continent. If one were to compare their economic strength with the martial strength of God Emperor Academy, they would not lose out at all. How many years had passed? They had countless rare treasures. And gambling on glory in the auction was a treasure. Jin Sanyuan smiled slightly and said, "It's simple. Didn't you declare war on our 9 Business Union? Then let's bet on whose soul treasure's value is higher. Everyone has 3 chances. In other words, everyone can take out 3 types of top-grade spirit treasures. If you win, we will push out the God Emperor City and never take another step forward. If you lose, The Fengyuan Merchant Union must withdraw from God Emperor's city within 1 day. And Jin Sanyuan stared at Long Fei with gloomy eyes and said, I still want your life. Without waiting for Long Fei to speak, Fu Shishan immediately shouted, Jin Sanyuan, you dare. Jin Sanyuan laughed disdainfully. When our 9 business union leaves the God Emperor's city, you will only be adding the name of trash in the Fengyuan Merchant Union. Who do you think will be the one to take advantage of us? You dog. Do you dare to take a gamble? If you don't dare to bet, that's fine too. Kneel down and admit defeat, and then get the hell out of here. Jin Sanyuan hated Long Fei to the bone because it was Long Fei who had destroyed his everything. Originally, he could have everything under his control, but now, seizing the opportunity, he would definitely let Long Fei experience a calamity. It was just like a commercial war. Once there was a chance, he would definitely not let his opponent make a comeback. Fu Shishan said loudly, Long Fei, don't bet with him. Jin Sanyuan looked at Long Fei with a complacent and cold smile and said, Do you dare to bet? A trash from the South Horizon region? Ha ha! Have you ever seen a scene like this? Are you scared to the point that your legs are going soft? Ha ha! Everyone from the 9 business union all laughed. Many people in the audience also started laughing. Lei Zhong was a bit unhappy. Zhou Yin was also unhappy, but this was a matter of the 10 commercial alliances, so they could not interfere. Furthermore, Fu Shishan had already agreed to the wager, so they had even less right to interfere. Jin Sanyuan was extremely pleased with himself. The important thing was that he could step on the Fengyuan Merchant Union. As long as he could defeat Long Fei, the influence of his family Jin Union would double, and he would be able to achieve the desired effect. Jin Sanyuan shouted, Brat, do you dare? Chen Xiaoshan laughed proudly. Brat, do you dare? Ha ha! It's obvious with just a glance that you don't have any seed. Murong Fenglei also laughed at him. It's such a shame that no woman has the guts to do it. Many people in the audience were laughing. Long Fei was not anxious at all. Looking at Jin Sanyuan, he said, Wager on my life alone. Jin Sanyuan didn't even bother to consider as he replied loudly, No problem. He was absolutely confident that he could win, and he could defeat all of the Merchant Union, or else he wouldn't have done it. Long Fei checked the system, striking energy value 100 points, then smirked and said, Then let's start the bet. Chapter 1-8419/2356981. Since it's a life wager, then we must first check the striking energy value. Since it's a life wager, then we must first check the striking energy value. It was about to explode. Just wait until Jin Sanyuan's underwear was ripped off. In Long Fei's eyes, the people from the 9 business union were not bosses, and their bodies did not shine with the golden light of bosses, but there was another kind of light around them. Rainbow light. This was something that had been discovered when Long Fei was walking up the stage. Beneath their feet, rainbow-colored light was gently rippling. What was this? This is a money giver. It was the most special existence in the game. They weren't strong, and their HP wasn't thick, but they were more powerful than any other boss. It was common for holy artifact to be exposed. Looking at the 9 of them, Long Fei swallowed his saliva as if he was looking at 9 beautiful girls all over. The feeling was only one. Swallowing them all in one go. He had to swallow it. When Jin Sanyuan was about to agree to a life wager, Long Fei conveniently said for them, Do you dare to wager your life? Humph! Do we have to be afraid of you? Bet. Who do you think you are? You are too far from betting your life against us, but you have made this old man extremely unhappy. I will make you pay the price. I made a bet. Bet. Kid, even if you have 9 lives today, it won't be enough to kill you. Haha. The leaders of 9 business union all agreed to gamble their lives. Long Fei laughed in his heart as he thought, Ancestor, if they were to reveal all their items, what realm would you be able to nurture the underworld soldiers in the Yellow Springs summoning seal? The Yin Huang ancestor replied, I don't know about anything else, but I can guarantee one thing: my power will increase by 1 level. F*CK. I don't care how many levels your strength has increased. I just want my ghost soldiers to become stronger. Long Fei scolded. You only know how to care about yourself. Can't you think about it for me? Air. Yan Huang ancestor was startled, then said, All right, I will let all 1,000 Yin soldiers enter the spiritual level, and I don't even need immortal roots, of course. It's better if you have a mortal foundation. This thing is delicious. Long Fei. I only know how to eat. It's fortunate that Ice and Fire and Xiao Bai are not here. Otherwise, it would really be too difficult to cultivate Yin soldiers. Long Fei rejoiced secretly. 3 foodies can eat him up. However, now it was not just the 3 foodies, but more than 1,000 foodies. What a miserable life. Jin Sanyuan gave a cold laugh as he said, Kid, let's begin. Long Fei said, How do I compete? 3 things? Or how do we compete? He really didn't understand this. Jin Sanyuan laughed. The first round will get 1 point, the second round will get 2 points, and the third round will get 3 points. Whoever gets the best points will get the best points. Of course, you can directly admit defeat. Long Fei said, You want to be the judge? Who has the final say? Someone had to judge whether things were good or bad. At this moment, a person slowly walked out from the backstage of the auction. Suddenly, Zhou Yin's forehead tightened, and a few elders beside him stood up. Principal. The entire audience was in an uproar. Many people stood up because this old man was the master of those people. Within the 18th court of God Emperor Academy, this old man is the current principal of the profound college of martial arts training, Xiao Tianwu. His cultivation was unfathomable. The most important thing was, what he studied was defense. It could be said that the elders, headmasters, and rankers in the entire God Emperor Academy were unable to match up to him in terms of defense. Black Tortoise Divine Technique. It was as though his defense was heaven-defying. The first immortal foundation that he had fused with was the Black Tortoise Immortal Root, the highest quality defensive immortal roots. However, today, he discovered another type of strong defense called the Immortal Foundation. He had never seen the special Immortal Foundation on Chun Tianfei's body before. It could be said, he had his eyes on Chun Tianfei. If he wanted to win the battle, he had to be in an unbeatable position. What was unbeatable? He would not lose if he didn't die. Defensive means not dying. Defense is heaven-defying. If you can't kill me, then I will be invincible. I will exhaust you. This is his Tao, path of undefeatable. Xiao Tianwu slowly walked out and said, I am the judge this time. You can rest assured, I will not be biased. Anyway, I'm not invited by any of you. He was invited by the owner of this auction. It had nothing to do with the 10 commercial alliances. Jin Senyuan's heart trembled. He was secretly shocked. I didn't expect the principal to be here. The background of the God Emperor auction house is not simple at all. At this moment, Xiao Tianwu said, You may begin. Right. Are you guys going to gang up or fight one-on-one? Xiao Tianwu also did not understand how they would compete. Jin Sanyuan replied respectfully, Our 9 business union is one side, and the Fengyuan merchant union is another. Xiao Tianwu said lightly, Understood. Let's begin. Long Fei continued, One-on-one? How boring is that? How about this? Let's fight in groups. Long Fei wanted to know what exactly were the good things that these fellows had on them, so that he could use his striking energy value to blow people up. This is crucial. Striking energy value can only be used once, so I must choose a wealth giver who has the most treasures on him. And then, Long Fei added and said, I was the one who gang up on all 9 of you. The big boss of the Dodge Merchant Union immediately shouted, Brat, you are too arrogant. Long Fei said, I am arrogant. What can you do? The face of the leader of the Dodge Merchant Union darkened. His eyebrows tightened, and his eyes looked like he was about to eat someone. Jin Sanyuan laughed. Are you saying that you are fighting against 9 of us alone? As long as anyone wins, that's our score? Long Fei said, You understand things very well. You really have a bit of a brain. The corners of Gene Sinuan's eyes twitched as he laughed coldly. Brat, later on, you won't even know how you died. Too arrogant. Taking over the 9 business union by himself. If this isn't seeking death, then what is? What the hell is he thinking? Does he think that the things he has on him are better than those of the 9 business union? Is he crazy? He didn't choose the duel and chose to gang up on us? I think either he's crazy or he's just courting death. Too arrogant. He was quite arrogant. No one knew what Long Fei was thinking. Equals semi/floating life plus. Fu Shishan didn't know either, but she was even more worried. She gripped the railing of the window with both hands, feeling an incomparable sense of worry. Chen Tianfei, however, became excited and said, "Boss is indeed boss. No matter what time it is, you can always be arrogant and be so tyrannical. Simply too cool, huh?" Xiaoying punched forward and bellowed, "Damn fatty, young Master Long against 9 business union. You don't have any advantages at all. You're still excited. Do you believe that I won't smash your head off?" Man Taoyuo asked softly, "What exactly do you want to do?" Chapter 28_8419/2356982. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.